Now, a look at what's happening from the Fox News Rundown.
Good morning. It's Thursday, February 15th, 2024. I'm Ted Lindner, and this is the Fox News Rundown. A shooting directly after a parade celebrating the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs, leaving at least one person dead, 22 others injured, including 9 children. More from Fox's Connor Hansen.
Kansas City police say the shots were fired right as the parade was wrapping up, hitting several people. Kansas City's mayor at the parade when it happened, expressing his disappointment that such an exciting day for the city turned to chaos.
That celebration was marred by a shooting today.
There were more than 800 law enforcement officers at the parade already. Fans at the parade described the chaos when fans had to flee Kansas City's Union Station.
The crowd started just rushing us and trampling everybody, and so we kind of moved about.
The mayor of Kansas City said no members of the Kansas City Chiefs were injured in the shooting. Connor Hansen, Fox News.
3 suspects now in custody. International efforts to broker a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas suffering a setback. Israel reportedly recalling its negotiating team. Israeli Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu accusing Hamas of hobbling negotiations with delusional demands. The breakdown of talks sparking criticism from the families of the roughly 130 remaining captives, about a fourth of whom were said to be dead. And could a district attorney in Georgia be taken off the election interference case against former President Trump and his co-defendants? Well, as Fox's Jessica Rosenthal reports, a hearing scheduled for today will consider whether the DA should be disqualified.
An evidentiary hearing moves forward today in Fulton County to consider allegations made by one of former President Trump's co-defendants in their election interference case. Michael Roman says District Attorney Fani Willis hired Nathan Wade as a special prosecutor, and the two then began a romantic relationship. Roman's attorneys say taxpayer dollars that went to pay Wade were used to fund lavish vacations for Wade and Willis.
The state has admitted a relationship existed, and so what remains to be proven is the existence and extent of any financial benefit. Again, if there even was one.
Judge Scott McAfee said he would rule on whether or not to enforce subpoenas for Willis and Wade after he hears from Wade's business partner. Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News.
And in New York City, I'm Ted Lindner on this Thursday morning. This is the Fox News Rundown.
This is the Fox News Rundown.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1 and newstalkstl.com. The Vic Porcelli Show.
Missouri Representative Justin Sparks. Oh, my God, finally. I know he hates me, but he's going to be on the show with us Thursday at 10:41. I guess. We'll see.
Weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Hey, it's Tony Colombo for the cleaning pros at Zero Res, who are spreading the love for the month of February. We've trusted Zero Res with our home for years, and right now they have an incredible offer. Just book a cleaning in the month of February and mention the Colombo special, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $119. Plus, they'll throw in a free hallway, and you can take $50 off an air duct cleaning. Just mention the Colombo special when you call 314-474-2020 or book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
Congratulations to everyone at Connor Roofing. We chose the Connor Roofing team for our National Best of the Best award for customer satisfaction without telling anyone at Connor Roofing, based on over 30 years of fantastic customer reviews. Rob and Kathy Connor and their team deliver very high-quality roofing, siding, gutters, storm damage restoration at a fair price with integrity. Connor Roofing has had an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau for years. Count on Connor. For an estimate, please visit ConnorRoofing.com. That's CONNER roofing.com.
Tim Jones here with Dr. Kim Patton from Comprehensive Integrative Healthcare. Kim, you focus on the treating of neuropathy. What are the signs of neuropathy?
The most common symptoms are numbness, burning, cramping, usually in the hands and feet.
Tell me about the success you're having with your Restore Neuropathy treatment program.
Tim, our program includes 8 distinct steps, offering a unique experience from other treatments. No surgery, no addictive medications, and we are seeing a success rate of 95%.
Kim, that is incredible. How can people learn more?
Visit us online at CIH.health. That's CIH.health.
So we finally got the parts for the time machine.
Classic Kicks Country is streaming now. Hear all your new country favorites from the 90s. Streaming as it happened in the 90s. Classic Kicks. Download the Classic Kicks app from the App Store. Online at ClassicKicks.com. Or enable the Classic Kicks skill on Alexa. 90s New Country streaming now. The O'Reilly Update, brought to you by Seavers JCB. Visit them at their St. Peter's location.
Bill O'Reilly here, and I'm warming up. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. But first, if you thought booking your timeshare was difficult before, you know it's almost impossible now. For more than a decade, Lone Star Transfer has helped thousands of owners legally and permanently get out of their never-ending timeshare fees. Lone Star Transfer guarantees the release of all liability to your timeshare in writing and in a specific time frame. For free, no-obligation consultation, please call 855-551-7066 or go to LoneStarTransfer.com. On this Thursday, the head of Homeland Security, Alejandro Mayorkas, was impeached in the House this week by one vote. Every Democrat voted against it. This is the second try on Alejandro. Republicans couldn't get the votes last week. The Senate, not really interested in this at all, may not even hold a trial. But there's no question that the Homeland Security boss should be booted because he's not protecting the homeland. Pretty simple. On his watch, the open border is one of the biggest scandals in American history, putting every American in danger. Alejandro does what he is told to do by the Biden administration. He could not care less about national security or your personal safety. He is a political hack who would have been fired a long time ago from any honest private company. But the federal government is not honest. It is all ideology all the time. The progressive movement wants no restrictions on immigration. Every single Democratic congressperson and senator kneels before that demand. Why? Because if they don't, they are canceled by their party. Awful doesn't even begin to describe this situation. Back in a moment.
Small businesses are the cornerstone of our towns and the pride of our country. We at Capitus provide financing for small business owners like you, the ones who keep the country running. And Capitus can help keep you running with financing built for the unique needs of your business. You've made this country great. Now let us at Capitus help you become even better. Start your journey today by submitting an application at Capitus.com. That's KAPITUS.com.
That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. For more news and honest analysis, please go to BillO'Reilly.com. More analysis later on.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
We had a few very early morning showers move through, even some thunder in spots, but that's in the rearview mirror now. So as we move ahead, breezy northwest winds kick in behind a cold front. Some morning clouds making way for sunshine in the midday and afternoon, up to about 54 this afternoon. Increasing cloudiness tonight, but dry, right around the freezing mark when you wake up Friday. And friends, here comes some snow. Anywhere from a dusting to as much as 3 inches in spots from tomorrow morning into the afternoon. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
Number one for live and local
conservative talk.
They always have great conversations.
News, analysis, and opinion.
As you know, the special counsel releases findings today about their look into my handling of classified documents.
Unmitigated disaster.
I did not break the law.
The Supreme Court is taking into consideration the political ramifications.
Why should a single state make this determination?
A handful of states are going to decide the presidential election.
101.9 and 94.1.
St. Louis is number one for conservative talk.
News Talk STL. Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Having your first cup of coffee? Mike's on his third. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
She will collect
Here we are, basically halfway through Black History Month. Imagine this. A former state lawmaker who happens to be black is making the argument that Black History Month shouldn't even be observed. He thinks it's so weaponized by the left, it's actually counterproductive at this point. Do you agree? Do you disagree? All right, I got some questions for him. We're going to have that conversation at 8:05. I really encourage you to check that one out. Hey, good morning. I'm Mike Ferguson. By the way, a little bit later on, Congressman Mike Bost is going to be with us. Obviously, the Mayorkas vote for the impeachment. Now we have the funding bill for Taiwan and Israel and Ukraine about to come to their side of the Capitol. So we'll get his take and his update on what's happening in the U.S. House. Speaking of the Mayorkas impeachment, Hugh Fike from the Conservative Partnership Institute joined us on Wednesday's program. He gave us his take because we know this probably isn't going anywhere in the Senate as far as a conviction goes, but is there something that conservatives can use this for to get the point across that we've got to secure that border? Here's what Hugh had to say.
Here's what happened after the vote was taken.
On this vote, the yeas are 214 and the nays are 213. The resolution is adopted.
Okay, and that resolution impeaching Secretary of Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas. We are joined now by Hugh Fike from the Conservative Partnership Institute. Hugh, appreciate you being on the program here. Okay, so round two, they win by one vote, and so they squeak that out. First of all, how can we expect, I guess, the left and the media to sort of try to dismiss this? But secondly, I think the bigger question is going to be, we'll get into this, where do we go from here when it's headed over to a Democratic-controlled Senate?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. And, there was no love for Secretary Mayorkas last night. Yeah. The House moved to impeach him. I think
we see what you did there. We see what you did there.
Just wanted to acknowledge that. Yeah.
That was nice. I couldn't miss the opportunity. But, last night was very clearly an act of Congress, and that has been given to the Congress as an opportunity for recourse and for oversight for the administration. Our founders were smart enough to know that we're fallen men and we need to divide up the powers and the checks and balances. And so that's what essentially the House took up last night. They took up their checks and balance against the administration, who's frankly run lawless, and decided that an open border and a border invasion is going to be the policy that they're going to operate by. And so the House said, no, this is not exactly what we're going to participate in. We're going to take some time to go through the constitutional and legal obligations that we need to and find the right arguments. And so essentially last night they made those arguments, albeit on the second try. But it was good to have Congressman Majority Leader Scalise back in the House last night, cast the vote that helped them get over the finish line.
Morning, Hugh. Gabe Pfeiffer here. So what should we expect when it hits the Senate?
Yeah, so they'll have to basically do two things. They got to transmit the articles the House does over to the Senate, and then they've also got to transmit the impeachment managers. We all remember this from just a few years ago when the House did it twice for President Trump, and so they've got to transmit those over there. It looks like the Senate's going to have to take it up after the President's Day weekend. But one important thing to consider is that no other business can take place before the Senate before this is disposed of. So this is going to be their first order of business when they get back. And, so they'll have a little bit of time to message on this between now and when the Senate is going to take it up. But to answer your specific question about how the liberal media is going to spin this, if you just look at all of the reports this morning, they're all saying the House impeached Mayorkas last night, first time in 150 years, second cabinet official ever, but back to regular programming. So right. they don't even consider this a speed bump. It's just something they've got to avoid on the road.
Yeah. Now, does the Senate have to go through the whole thing of, bringing in, the Supreme Court justices to oversee it and have the entire trial and impeachment managers and all of that sort of thing? Or is it possible that Chuck Schumer just says, all right, we're calling a vote. We vote no. We move on now.
Yeah, one of the things to consider is how they dispose of this. And yeah, this is going to be, a full trial. But one of the ways they could avoid this is just by calling up a tabling resolution and tabling the impeachment and then moving on. So that's one thing that's it's going to be very conservatives in the Senate to consider is how how they deal with that. But yeah, this will be, the House has impeached him, and now the trial is up for debate. So that'll be the next thing the Senate deals with.
Good morning, Hugh. Stal Ponticus here. So I want to see some of the books opened up, so to speak, so the public gets to see some of the irresponsible actions taken by Mayorkas. Do you think that's going to happen?
Yeah, well, I think so far, Congressman Mark Green from Tennessee, who's the chairman of the House Homeland Security Committee, has really made an extensive case for this, and I'm sure they'll, just take those over to the Senate and kind of continue with this. On their official website, they've posted tons of resources. They've written op-eds. They've done, multiple panels before moving to the impeachment vote. And so, yeah, I don't doubt that they're going to want to make the best case possible, especially since the importance of this issue before the American people. I mean, if you look broadly across the country, like the number one issue is the border and immigration and what's going on. And then there's a lot of effects that flow down from that, like crime and the fentanyl, drug trafficking, and all these things that have come into the country. So, I don't doubt they're going to make the strongest case possible, because this is the kind of one shot at it.
All right, we're visiting with Hugh Fike from the Conservative Partnership Institute. All right, Hugh, because I want to kind of piggyback on what Stel just asked you, and that is, we know the Senate's not going to convict. I mean, I think it's a foregone conclusion. So why does this impeachment still matter? Mayorkas is going to keep his job. The Biden administration is going to circle the wagons. When it comes to making that strong case, I mean, is there still a way to utilize the impeachment vote and whatever's going to happen or not happen in the Senate as a way to drive home the point to the public, especially in this election year? Because a lot of people would say, you're not going to convict him. Why are you wasting the time on it? Can something happen where this is not a waste of time?
Well, I think that's certainly in the eyes of the beholder. I think that, conservatives on Capitol Hill view this as the right course of action, regardless of the outcome, because this is the thing that, the Constitution has granted them, one of the only authorities they have in order to provide redress against the administration. They can obviously withhold funding and do stuff like, take actions like that. But in terms of a specific actual recourse against an individual who has failed to uphold and to faithfully enact and manage the laws of this country, the House of Representatives, and specifically, a bunch of the conservatives that led this fight, and said that this is our one avenue of redress. This cannot go on unpunished. And so, irrespective of the outcome, I think many view this as their opportunity to say that this is not acceptable in this country, and if you do things like this, you're going to be reprimanded. And frankly, it's fairly embarrassing for the secretary to be, only the second, cabinet official to be impeached in 150 years. So this is not just, a lone act in the middle of the night. This is a very specific and targeted, oversight measure against someone who's just frankly willfully neglected to enforce the rules of the law.
We know how the Democrats are spinning this as a purely political move, and we know how the media is essentially trying to hide it. But how is the public absorbing at least what they can see of what's going on here?
Yeah, that's going to be, I think, the big question for the House over the next week or two, the next week or two, however long they have until the Senate come back and starts this up, is they're going to have to make the case. And so they're going to have to take the time to go through and continue to do, the press hits and stuff if they want to continue to make the case that this is the right course of action. Yeah, I mean, we're never going to assume that the mainstream media is on the side of conservatives, and certainly shows like y'all's and your willingness to stand for truth and tell people how it is going to be important in their case. So, I don't suspect we'll get MSNBC or any of these other outlets on the side of the conservatives in the House and then hopefully in the Senate. But they're certainly going to have to make the case over the next couple days on why this is the right course of action.
All right, and where do we learn more about what you're doing at Conservative Partnership Institute, Hugh?
Just head over to cpi.org. We're an organization exists in D.C., kind of the we're kind of the embassy or the outpost in Washington, D.C. for conservatives. We train, equip, and unite, staffers in and around the Hill. And we'd love to have you guys visit cpi.org.
All right. Yeah. And having the staffers well equipped and well educated on stuff is crucial. People forget how important staffers are to the entire process. So, Hugh Fike, really appreciate you being on. We'll talk to you again soon. Thanks, Hugh.
Thank you very much.
Got the news roundup coming your way here in just about 2 minutes and 36 seconds right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
For podcast articles and more, find us on newstalkstl.com. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. And talk
Texas Governor Abbott writing on social media that he will, quote, hold the line.
That matters to St. Louis.
It's a powder keg. Need to force Biden to comply with the law.
This is 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
My friend, death is certain. Are you prepared? Larry Connors here. I don't want to scare you, but your funeral plans are an important conversation you need to have with your spouse, family, other loved ones. My friend Benjamin Schaefer at Senior Memorial can help find you an affordable, final expense life insurance policy, regardless of your health condition. You could qualify up to $30,000 of lifetime coverage. Life insurance plans with Senior Memorial also offer living benefits towards hearing and diabetic supplies, access to a 24-hour teledoc service, discounts on urns, caskets, tombstones. Call my friend Benjamin at Senior Memorial and discover your legacy at 314-866-8886 or visit memorialplans.com. Memorialplans.com. Senior Memorial Heritage Protection.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker. How are you?
I'm ready for this.
Let's do it. We're ready for this.
When the lobbyists and the special interests and the liberal rhino Republicans start wringing their hands and clutching their pearls in April or May, oh, we didn't get anything done. Everybody needs to remember this moment. Mark this moment. The 3 weeks in February where you, Senate leadership, Caleb Rowden, as President of the Senate, did absolutely nothing.
Vic Porcelli, live and local, weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
It's a new year, so come check out the great financing offers going on now at Seavers JCB. Rates as low as 0.99% on nearly all JCB compact construction equipment, including the industry-leading JCB Teleskid. For details, go to SeaversJCB.com. Mini excavators, track loaders, small wheel loaders, and even the industry-leading JCB compact load all range. Seavers JCB has them all. Visit SeaversJCB.com for more information.
I heard the call to serve, so I answered. I earned a title and discovered my purpose. I found belonging, an unbreakable bond with my fellow Marines. We fought to overcome adversity together in defense of our nation and its people. I've lived a full life, rich with meaning. And even though I no longer wear the uniform, I am still a Marine. My service has come full circle. I will always look after those around me. I will always uplift and support my country and my community. Because that is the promise I made. That is what it means to be a Marine. Semper Fidelis. Always faithful, always Marine.
This news update brought to you by Anton's Plumbing and HVAC. Call Anton's at 314-338-3941 or visit them at antonshvac.com.
Hi, it's Dan Bongino here, and I'm proud to be on News Talk STL every weekday from 11 to 2. Right now, you're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning. From 11 to 2. Right now, you're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
All right, chaos in Kansas City. Tell you what we know. A lot of people are weighing in with their opinions already on it, and we're going to try to sort through the emotion and sort through the chaos and get to the facts. So we can talk about this. Also, Missourians' tax dollars are going to continue to go to Planned Parenthood, at least for the time being. And in St. Louis, the MVP may be coming back to the Dome. So got a little bit of good news when it comes to sports.
Okay.
Talk about that here. It is 5:50 right now. I'm Mike Ferguson, and that's Stel Ponticus. Okay, so obviously the massive tragic news that's happening in the world right now at the Kansas City Chiefs celebration parade. There was a shooting that broke out. Police in Kansas City confirming one person's dead. Looks like upwards of 22 people were injured as well. 9 of those being children at a shooting at Union Station in Kansas City. And this is right after the Chiefs Super Bowl parade. Union Station is where they have those celebrations when Kansas City wins championships, because there's a great big field that goes up and overlooks Union Station, and that's where they can put hundreds of thousands of people. At this point, it looks like there have been 3 people arrested. Police Chief Stacey Graves gave an update shortly after the shooting happened.
At the conclusion of the Chiefs rally today, there were shots fired on the west side of Union Station. Immediately, officers responded to the area, took 2 people into custody, and also immediately rendered life-sustaining aid to those victims.
Okay, so some of the aspects that we're going to get to when we have more time in this. I mean, I've got the news roundup right here, and then I'll remind everybody at 6:05 that we're going to focus on this a little more at 6:20 when, frankly, I just have more time to get into it, and we can have a fuller conversation about it. While the tragedy of shootings is terrifying to everybody, these, I have to say, suspects legally, literally were running through the crowd. And I don't know if you saw the video of the one guy who was tackled by some Chiefs fans as he was trying to run from police while the shooting, was still happening. The video seems to show there was a bystander who picked up the gun that he got knocked out of his hand. I don't know exactly what kind of gun that was. The camera was too far away, but it looked like a fully automatic. I mean, not a machine gun, but I mean, it looked like an Uzi or something like that. It was not a typical, AR type thing. I mean, maybe it was with a whole bunch of accessories on it, but it looked like a massive gun that he had going through there. And it was, some fans that tackled him and held him down until police got there. And, we know that my mom lives in Kansas City. I lived in Kansas City for a while. I know that area. I mean, I know that area very well. And so, so far, I've not heard anything about anybody that I know, having been hurt out there, but we're still getting the details on all that.
The video I saw was, I think, a little bit different than what you saw. I just saw folks running out of
right. I saw that one
the
too.
area.
Yeah.
And I also had a chance to watch part of the press conference afterwards with the mayor and the fire chief and the police chief. And they tried to fill folks in as much as they knew at that time, which wasn't really a lot.
No, there's not much they can do because it was so chaotic situation right there. All right, but we're going to go into this in more depth, and we'll keep touching on it throughout the morning because I do expect that we're going to have updates on this. All right, Missouri Supreme Court says the state cannot ban payments to Planned Parenthood. Okay, that decision upholds a lower court ruling over a 2022 funding bill that was passed by the legislature. Missouri's Republicans have been trying to deny funding. Well, many of the Republicans, there are some in leadership that seem to be antagonistic towards the idea of banning Medicaid payments to Planned Parenthood. But the Supreme Court's ruling, though, is based on procedural grounds, not specifically on whether the state can stop Medicaid dollars from going to Planned Parenthood. This means lawmakers can try again to deny funding to them. Okay, a little closer to home here, Bridgeton's mayor has died. This was unexpected. The city made that announcement on Wednesday. Terry Briggs has been serving as mayor since 2015. He was elected then. He was reelected twice since then. The cause of death not been released yet. Funeral and memorial services will be announced within the next week or so. Okay, about half of Americans, already doing polls on this, about half of Americans think President Biden got off easy when it comes to the classified documents investigation.
A new Reuters Ipsos poll shows that 53% of Americans agree with the statement that Biden received special treatment because he is the president. Last week, federal prosecutors announced they would not prosecute him for mishandling classified documents. Nearly half of respondents said they were somewhat familiar with the special counsel's description of the 81-year-old president as an elderly man with a poor memory. Greg Clugston, the White House.
Okay, the number that jumps out to me on that, Stell, is that at the very end there where Clugston says
about half of the people responded said they were pretty familiar with the information in that report. That's more than what typically is going to happen in a political story.
Especially one like this, where you know that the media, the mainstream media, is going to try to cover a lot of the particulars in the story.
Yeah, so the fact that many people said, no, I'm familiar with that story, whether they get the right information or the wrong information, but the fact that many Americans said, no, I'm familiar with that story, that is actually what surprised me. That's the more information that we get, obviously, the more that leads you to believe that there's lights are on, but nobody's home. With him. Matter of fact, many Republicans continuing to say, listen, we got to do something about this. President Biden's mental abilities just not there. And, of course, this follows the special counsel report that was released. Congressman Ronnie Jackson, Republican out of Texas, was on the Ingram Angle on Fox last night. He still maintains his belief that President Biden just cannot do the job anymore and that we need to replace him.
The world is in chaos right now. We've got a lot of stuff going on. We need somebody who's attuned to what's happening, who's read into everything that's going on, and who can make these decisions and multitask. And this guy obviously cannot do this.
Yeah, so, whether anything's going to happen before the election, I doubt it. But as far as removing him from office, I just don't get your hopes up. I don't think that's going to happen. We can just cut that off. I don't have any more. So. And so that's kind of that's what we're going to hear for the next several months. And this is going to become, it already is a massive campaign issue. And frankly, in this case, it should be.
I come from the other perspective, and I think that something will happen. So we'll see what.
Well, yeah,
we'll see how it goes.
I think it's very possible something may happen with the Democratic nomination, but I think they're going to try to find a way to let him leave office with his head held high.
Oh, I'm sure they'll try to work a situation out. Maybe Jill will come in and say, we talked it over.
Yeah.
And he finally realizes he needs to step down. Everybody will go, oh, that is so awesome.
We've accomplished everything we set out to do. It's
exactly.
time to yeah, precisely. Oh, good night. Okay. Is AJ coming back to the Dome?
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Oh, yeah. It sure looks that way. Multiple reports say quarterback AJ McCarron asked for his release from the Cincinnati Bengals in order to return to St. Louis. He was given his release by the team. That's been confirmed. No official word from the Battlehawks just yet. I'm just saying, watch and see what happens this afternoon. McCarron was the XFL League MVP last year. Oh, I want to see him back at the Dome. I want to see him back in a Battlehawks uniform.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. Ouch! Well, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers. If you administer insulin 3 or more times per day or use an insulin pump, call now and learn how a CGM can help you.
Painless. No more pricking my finger.
No finger pricks.
Convenience. They delivered it free and they took care of all the paperwork.
You can reduce pain right away. Plus, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you spend more time in range. And if you have insurance, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. Call now and get free shipping of your new CGM. Plus, we'll bill your insurance for you. 800-432-8150. 800-432-8150. 800-432-8150. That's 800-432-8150.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss as part of our lineup every week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on News Talk STL. And in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefontaine, KNVS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason.
All was well at yesterday's big Super Bowl victory celebration in Kansas City, and then shots rang out.
Kansas City's fire chief says 22 people were shot when gunfire erupted at the end of the Chiefs' Super Bowl parade. Stephanie Meyer at Children's Mercy Kansas City says they treated a dozen patients.
11 of which are children with 9 gunshot wounds.
Those children between the ages of 6 and 15.
All of those patients we expect to have a full recovery, none of which are in critical condition.
As for their emotional state,
fear.
That sound courtesy KMBC. Radio station KKFI says its DJ Lisa Lopez Galvan was killed in the shooting. I'm Ben Thomas.
Several people have been detained and guns recovered. A day-long standoff in Washington, D.C. finally ended yesterday with the arrest of a suspect in the shooting and wounding of several police officers.
The standoff started Wednesday morning as officers attempted to make an arrest on an animal cruelty warrant, but the suspect refused to leave his home. As officers tried to get inside, the suspect, 46-year-old Julius James, opened fire.
And correspondent Lisa Dwyer says he kept on firing all day until finally giving up. The 3 wounded officers expected to fully recover. Well, there's all manner of speculation about some kind of unspecified serious national security threat. First mentioned yesterday by Congressman Mike Turner, the Ohio Republican, chair of the House Intelligence Committee. White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan says he'll be talking about it today with senior congressional intelligence officials. Standing firm, Speaker Mike Johnson saying the House will not be rushed into approving another $60 billion in aid for Ukraine. On Wall Street, the Dow futures are up 45 points. NASDAQ futures ahead 21. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Relief Factor, pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain. That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. Relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success story.
This is Dennis Prager, and now a truly exciting new benefit. My monthly online video get-together for Pragertopia Plus members only. For an hour each month, get an exclusive chance to ask me anything. I'll be answering your questions. I've never done this. Submit your questions for me at Pragertopia.com. This is our chance to connect like never before. Go to Pragertopia.com or click the banner at Dennis.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
We had a few very early morning showers move through, even some thunder in spots, but that's in the rearview mirror now. So as we move ahead, breezy northwest winds kick in behind a cold front. Some morning clouds making way for sunshine in the midday and afternoon, up to about 54 this afternoon. Increasing cloudiness tonight, but dry, right around the freezing mark when you wake up Friday. And friends, here comes some snow. Anywhere from a dusting to as much as 3 inches in spots from tomorrow morning into the afternoon. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com.
To all our incredible supporters, we at the David Dorn Foundation say thank you. Your 5-star online reviews that you recently posted are beacons of encouragement on our mission to assist first responders. And a shout out to Steve Katraba, who reviewed us with these powerful words. The Dorn Foundation continues to fill a need in the public safety community and thereby to the public. Steve, your words are more than a review. They show the impact we're making for first responders. To read more strong reviews, Google the Dorn Foundation now.
Steph's Pizza is on the move to Lake St. Louis. That's right, you can now get the legendary Steph's Pizza and Pasta in Lake St. Louis, 111 Pond Fort Trail. Steph's Pizza, where Mondays you get a large pizza for the price of a small, and it just got more convenient for pickup or delivery in Lake St. Louis. Steph's Pizza in the Chesterfield Valley on Long Road, in St. Peter's on Jungerman, and now in Lake St. Louis at 111 Pond Fort Trail. Check them out at stephspizza.com. Tonight's a good night for Steph's Pizza.
This is what's happening.
My memory is fine. I don't remember. If you think I don't have the energy level or the mental acuity, then that's one thing. I don't remember.
101.9 and 94.1. News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson.
Are you pretending to be crazy?
Wow, you're really pumped about this.
Gabe Pfeiffer. Get up, St. Louis.
The best answer to the toxicity of the left is the truth.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Okay, this is a little weird. Workers strike against a company that's not actually their employer.
How is that?
Yeah,
How's that possible?
Yeah, I'll get to that here in a second. Okay, we're going to talk chaos in Kansas City as almost 24 people are shot during the Chiefs' victory celebration. So, is this buzzing again still?
Not that I hear.
Okay,
I'm not hearing it.
All right.
Oh, yes.
Oh, there it is.
All right, let's go ahead. I've got a soundbite I'll play here in a second. We'll just deal with that in a minute. Okay, so obviously I think the biggest story everybody's talking about right now is what happened in Kansas City.
Right.
The Chiefs had their victory parade from the Super Bowl, the championship, and Kansas City turns out hundreds of thousands of people to this. We know that they've won 3 Super Bowls in the last several years. And the Union Station area has a not massive, but they have a very large field that looks up at the World War II Memorial, down to Union Station. It's a very pretty area. I know that area well because I did live in Kansas City for a while. And so at 6:20, I'm going to go into more depth about what we know. I know that there were a lot of people from St. Louis there.
Yeah.
If you were there, I would love to find out your firsthand experience of what happened at 314-912-1019, or you can message us on social media as well. But I would really like to get a feel for what you experienced. So at 6:20, Gabe, we've just got a little more time to go into more depth on that, so I think let's do that here in about 13 minutes or
Definitely,
so.
yeah.
Okay, so interesting business situation that happened in several cities. Lyft drivers went on strike for 2 or 3 hours on Valentine's Day.
Oh, right. I think I heard this story. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, which was weird. I got to take because my wife is in Chicago right now, and she's got to go to the airport tomorrow.
Right.
And she was like, "Is this thing going to cause me a problem to go from where she is to campus or from campus to the airport?" And I said, "Well, I think it's one day," and so. But she went ahead and put in her reservation, or not reservation, but she put in I'm going to want to go to the airport on 2 days from now at this time, and just put it out there.
Right.
And so David Risher is the CEO of Lyft, and he was on the Clayman Countdown on Fox Business, and he's talking about what their complaints are, and some of them are saying we need to make more money, we want to be guaranteed more safety. All of that sort of thing. Here's part of his response.
The drivers are looking for more transparency. So we not only guarantee that 70%, we also give them a weekly summary that shows here's exactly how much riders paid you, and here's exactly how much you took home, and here's what Lyft took as well.
Okay, so the interesting thing is that, when you drive for Lyft or Uber or DoorDash or Grubhub or any of those,
Whichever.
Instacart, whatever it is, you don't actually work for the company. You're an independent contractor.
Right. That's true. That's true.
So the idea that you're not striking against your boss.
Yeah, not really.
You're striking against your client.
Yeah, I mean, and of course, because you have that 70% take, you're hurting yourself more than the company.
Yeah.
Right? So,
if there's policies that that's fine, but it just seems strange to me. Because there is competition. If you don't like Lyft, then go drive for Uber or go drive for for a different one or whatever the case is. But it just struck me as odd that there would be a strike against a company that you don't actually work for.
Yeah, I mean it's certainly an interesting tactic. I mean, I suppose if you were to make the best case for a quote unquote strike against a company like that where you're independent contractors, you're large. If you manage to do it on a large enough scale, you create at least a noticeable blip in their data. They're just like, oh, hey, we usually have a spike on Valentine's Day at this period of time in these areas, and oh look, that is gone. So there's revenue that was lost. So the bean counters are going to say, hey, what happened?
Yeah.
And at the very least, maybe that gives you the opportunity to voice your concerns. But in general, though, it seems weird for independent contractors to strike.
Yeah. What's also funny is when there's spikes in demand, their prices go up.
Well, yes. Yeah.
So this was in the middle of the day. So I think they were very, sort of soft. Hey, we're upset.
Oh, okay.
But
so it wasn't even Valentine's evening.
It was like 2 hours.
Oh, okay. See, that wouldn't have made any sort of spike.
Right.
I don't think the bean counters would have noticed that.
No, and so the news media did.
Mhm.
And but when you look at the probably bigger spike for Valentine's night, the free market says drive and make your money.
Yes, exactly. And,
So
and I'm
they're-
pretty sure that's what they did, right? So,
Yeah, and good for them.
Yeah.
I love the gig economy. I mean, and that's one of the great things about it is anybody can leave at any given time, and competition for workers, that regulates in a good way the what you're able to pay and what you're willing to pay. I mean, if you're taking 70% of the pay home, I don't know any other contractors taking 70% of anything home.
Now, arguably, the signals of the worker engagement signals should be stronger in a gig economy than it would be in an employee sort of based economy, wouldn't it? Because if you're working the personnel department at a big company and people are leaving, the time amount of time it takes to actually read that signal as we have to increase our pay or benefits or something like that should probably lag behind the type of signal you'd get from a Lyft, because you could just jump over to Uber and all of a sudden you've lost hundreds of drivers real quick.
Probably quarterly in a corporate setting. It's like, boy, these reports came in and look at this. This is a weird trend. And look at this. And in the meantime, their warehouse is empty.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
All right. All right. Yesterday, Valentine's Day. Did you guys go do your Valentine's Day shooting?
We sure did, and we did. So we didn't go to the Range STL. We went to Range USA, which is out here. And it's a great facility.
Okay, so did you do the thing where it's like, honey, I'm going to help you stable the gun and put your arms around her from behind, and all four hands are on the gun, and you're just
No.
Oh.
She didn't let me.
Was it for lack of trying?
No, it wasn't for lack of trying. She's like, get off me. I know what I'm doing.
Get off of me. Okay, so I saw this on Channel 5's website. It's not unusual for people to go to the judge just to get married real quick. You walk in, you just say some vows, you show them the license, and then, hey, poof, you're married. And it takes about a minute to do that. Well, that was a pretty popular thing to do in the courtrooms in St. Louis County yesterday.
Oh, okay. So they made a run on it, huh?
They made a run on it because it was Valentine's Day. Matter of fact, in one court alone, a judge basically says, okay, I'm going to, pause the criminal and civil stuff I'm dealing with. We're going to do Valentine's Day weddings, 38 couples.
Oh, wow. Now they did a one after another, or did it
assembly line? Just come on in.
Okay, as opposed to the gigantic single ceremony.
Nope.
Everybody. Okay, they didn't do that.
It was a rapid fire, assembly line sort of thing.
Do you? Do you? All right, get out of here.
Great. Who's next? Up here. And where's your paperwork? Okay, fine.
So shall it be. Stamped.
Okay. So the good news is that their anniversary is Valentine's Day.
Yes.
Every year that's Valentine's
Good
Day.
on you guys, because you combined two gift buying holidays into one.
And they didn't end up paying thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars for a wedding.
Yes,
as
exactly.
well. So, I imagine you pitch this to your lady and you're like, we're going to get married on Valentine's Day. Let's go do it. Spur of the moment. Oh, that's so sweet. And he's thinking, I don't have to pay $10,000 for a wedding.
Got it. Didn't even have to dress up in a monkey suit.
That's right. Nothing. On there.
I wore slacks and a Grateful Dead T-shirt.
Exactly. And I'll remember every year when our anniversary is.
Exactly.
That's right.
Well,
and
maybe.
Valentine's
Valentine's
Day. Exactly.
It's a twofer.
Rachel and I actually have some friends who got married in a courtroom. They had this great wedding planned, and kind of a chapel at a retreat area that was going to be really pretty. Rachel was going to be in the wedding party, and then because of Sam Page's shutdowns, it got canceled by the government. And so they're like, well, we're just going to go to a courthouse, and they went in and did a 1 minute wedding thing in a drab gray courtroom instead of the wedding that she'd been wanting, and that's all she ever got.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it kind of is what it is, but yeah, certainly the Sam Page, ism of it is it probably tainted the day a little bit.
Right. Oh, well, yeah, I would think so.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right. So, well, congratulations to all of those people who showed up in the Jimmy Buffett T-shirts and sandals for the wedding. I'm sure that your weddings are going to be lifelong lasting. There's going to be no problems there. All right. Tragedy in Kansas City, chaos in Kansas City right after, but sort of during the celebration of the Chiefs championship. I'll tell you what we know. If you were there, because we do know a lot of people from St. Louis were at that celebration, I would love to understand what you went through and what you saw. So 314-912-1019. We'll give you the details as we know them. Get your thoughts. That's just ahead right around 6:20 here on 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
Like and subscribe to us on Rumble. News Talk STL.
Stop right now. I have had enough of this. Turn my eyes to your indifference. Stop right now.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up, this is your cousin God.
Tony Colombo here, along with Tim Jones for Rodney and Jen Wallner, the Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Rodney and Jen are the #1 home selling team in the area, and I could say that from personal experience. They sold our old home faster and for more money than we thought possible, which put us in a great position as we tried to find our perfect new home. And with help from the Wallners, that's exactly what we did. Christine and I couldn't be happier with our experience working with Rodney and Jen Wallner. And Tim, the numbers speak for themselves.
That's right, Tony. Everybody knows the Wallners sell 15 times more homes per year than the typical realtor. And if you're looking to sell your home, right now they have so many qualified buyers, they'll guarantee to obtain you an offer. They're licensed in both Missouri and Illinois, so no matter where you are in the St. Louis region, you can put the Wallners experience and work ethic to work for you. If you've been thinking about selling your home, don't wait. Call Rodney and Jen Wallner now at 314-810-SOLD. That's 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD for the Wallner home selling team.
Larry Connors, USA.
Hunter Biden and his artwork.
Excuse me, Hunter. Apparently you're afraid of my words. What a coward.
The art gallerist apparently claimed that one of Hunter's financial backers purchased most of his paintings for $875,000. What's this? Oh, it's a scribble, but really it's a man walking into his future and seeing his past at the same time.
You are the epitome of white privilege.
They were laundering money, and he had all of his friends coming forward to help him out.
Larry Connors, weeknights at 6 on News Talk STL.
Tony Colombo here, reminding you to visit my friends at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton before your next trip into the great outdoors. For decades, Bluff City Outdoors has covered all the needs for area fishermen, and they'll always have all the best bait, tackle, and gear for your next trip on the water. And now they cover all your bow hunting needs, including their state-of-the-art indoor archery range and techno hunt system, open every day for you to come shoot, or you can join a league. Follow Bluff City Outdoors on Facebook and learn more at bluffcityoutdoors.com.
You can't buy a best friend. You can love them, walk them, pet them, and care for them, whether they want you to or not. You can take a picture or 50. You can fly to the moon, travel the world, or just stay in bed. You can't buy a best friend like that, but you can adopt one. There are millions of pets waiting for a best friend just like you. Help us save them all at bestfriends.org.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hi, it's Randy Tobler here. Pour a big cup of coffee and catch my show every Saturday morning from 6 to 9. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning here on News Talk STL.
But just a look at that girl with the lights coming up in her eyes.
All right, bullets fly at the Chiefs championship celebration. There's still a lot that we don't know.
Yeah.
But there's plenty that we do know as of right now. We're going to go through that here. It's 6:19. I'm Mike Ferguson. Got Gabe Pfeiffer here. Got Stel Ponticus here. Still ahead, unfortunately, Missourians' tax money is going to continue to go to Planned Parenthood, at least for now, and against the efforts of the legislature, but it is not over. As I saw this story, and normally I just put that, kind of in the news dump and leave it at that, but there's a lot of bad information going on
Yeah.
around this story. So I want to clear that up and at least equip you in case you end up in one of those discussions so that you've got that. But around 6:35, we'll talk about that. Okay, here's what we know. And Gabe, did you see in the video from what happened in Kansas City?
No, all I saw was I saw a couple of stills of like the location and how packed it was, and then a few responders and some of the chaos also.
Yeah, you're talking hundreds of thousands of people.
Yeah,
I mean literally in this event, in this celebration. And I saw one of the overhead shots from one of the local television stations, and then all of a sudden there was a mass of people trying to get out. And that sort of thing. So one woman was killed. She was a DJ at a local, what's called a community station, kind of like KDHX here. And so she played Tejano music on that station, which is called KKFI. I mean, it's a lot like the community station here. It's all volunteer, very hard left politics and all that. But she was a music DJ. She wasn't involved in the political side of things. And so she was killed. 22 other people, as far as we know right now, have been injured as well. 9 of those were children.
Yeah.
And we're talking people who took the 22 people shot. There were other people who were injured.
Right, yeah.
In the kind of the stampede.
Yeah, I saw 12 kids injured, but 9 of whom those were gunshot wounds.
9 were gunshot wounds of the kids.
Yeah.
None of them, thank God, are critical at this point. There was an update from one of the people that I know in the media there, and they said that Children's Mercy Hospital, which is where they were all taken, and we're talking 15 years old and under.
Right.
So, and some of them are grade school age. I mean, we're talking very young children. They were, they're hurt, obviously, seriously hurt, but there are no critical life-endangering injuries of the children at this point. Now, the other adults, I don't know.
Yeah, information still seems a bit sparse on this.
Which is normal.
Yeah. I mean, it's still early.
Right. So here's Kansas City Mayor, his name is Quentin Lucas, shortly after all the chaos happened.
I was there with my wife. I was there with my mother. We never would have thought that we, along with Chiefs players, along with fans, hundreds of thousands of people, would be forced to run for our safety today.
Now, the governor was there. Obviously, all of the Chiefs were there. Several members of Congress were there. Several members of the Missouri and Kansas legislatures were there as well. And so all the Chiefs players and faculty, all the Chiefs players and staff and all that sort of coaches, they're all accounted for. There's nobody who is well-known public figure, as far as I know, who's been injured in this as well. But there was a situation where one of the shooters, I would say the suspect, but he's running away from the police holding a big gun, and he was actually tackled by one of the Chiefs fans who was there, a man by the name of Paul Contreras. And so he tackled him, and another guy jumped on him, and then a woman went and picked up the gun and carried it away from him. And KCTV, which is a television station there, they actually had a chance to talk to Paul Contreras, and here's how he recounted what happened.
One guy was hollering, saying, stop him, or catch him, tackle him, whatever. And he's just bailing running. And out of nowhere, I heard that guy hollering, so I'm just like, okay, well, I'm right here. And I didn't even think about it. It was just a reaction. I didn't hesitate. It was just do it. So I went to go tackle him, and another gentleman did the same thing. And as I'm tackling him, I see his weapon either fall out of his hand or out of his sleeve, because he was wearing a long jacket, or like a Carhartt. So when I seen that hit the ground, I'm like, oh, we got to take this guy down. And so, like I said, I did, and another good Samaritan did, and we held him down. And it seemed like forever, but it probably wasn't. It was like 30 seconds holding him down, and me and the other gentleman are hollering at ongoers, where's the cops? Get the cops over here, get the cops over here, we got them.
Yeah, and the police were there within, very, very short time, and they were that was one of 3 people arrested. This appears, and there will be the official investigation announcement, this has every bit of the sign of gang violence beef.
Sure.
That's what this looks like. And there was an overhead video, probably from one of the helicopters that was covering the event. And the woman, when she picked up the gun that Paul Contreras had knocked loose from this guy, it was not a typical handgun. You could see it from the helicopter. I mean, I don't think it was an Uzi, but it looked like an Uzi. I mean, if it was a semi-auto, it had all kinds of accessories on it, but it almost looked like a fully automatic, weapon.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
In a situation like this where a guy just sees somebody who's posing a danger, goes after him, hits him. Who knows if this guy he may have saved a bunch of lives.
Oh, absolutely.
But it dawns on him afterwards, I really put myself in a lot of danger. So,
Yes.
but thank God there's people like this. And I don't know anything about Paul Contreras other than in that moment, he took down somebody who was a threat to everybody else around him.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you need a little bit of that toxic masculinity, I guess, running through your veins in order to do what men tend to do historically and protect other people, putting themselves in danger in the meantime.
Yeah, so we've got the stories now that are come out where we're saying, different public figures are commenting and giving their statements on this. And I don't want to take this into the political route, too much, too fast. I mean, we're going to have to talk about it because it becomes that. Cori Bush just reminding everybody what an awful human being that she actually is.
Oh, here we go.
So she goes on to social media and she says, "Today should have been a joyous day for Kansas City. Gun violence stole that. My heart is with those injured, their families, and all in attendance. Missouri has some of the weakest gun safety laws in the U.S., pushed for by the NRA-funded GOP. Their greed is harming our communities."
Okay. Yeah, the first half was fine.
Yeah.
The first half was actually perfect as a response from a well, I won't say perfect. It was really
reasonable.
It was reasonable. I would have received it well, but then she goes on to, okay, here's now my political point. Because I'm going to waste no less than 3 seconds to get into it.
Right. I'm going to say something somewhat reasonable, and then it's you damn Republicans.
Yep, exactly.
And so this just reminds you that how quickly people will rush to try to capitalize on a on a tragedy.
Yeah, absolutely. And it seems to be, the standard now for Democrats. Basically, it's like, oh, look, dead bodies. Let me go stand on them and preach about gun control. And that's exactly what I see. That's the mental image I get every time they pull this crap.
Right. And so I kind of hesitate to go into it that early, but it's already been brought that direction by the left. So it's gross. I mean, if this is what it appears to be, which is a gang violence beef, which, I mean, to shoot it out with hundreds of thousands of people. First of all, we know that you're barely human if you're willing to shoot it out over gang violence stuff anyway, and especially with all of those potential victims around. But how stupid do you have to be to commit your crime in broad daylight in front of that many people with cameras everywhere?
Yeah. I certainly hope that once whatever information comes out, everybody properly attributes the tragedy to that individual and what he did.
Yeah, 3 of them. It looks like there's at least
3.
There are 3 people who've been arrested. This looks like it was a full-on shootout.
Oh, okay, all right.
And I don't know if it was a running gun battle, but it was a shootout
gosh.
that happened, and we don't know how many shots were fired. So we may still find out there were more people who were hurt, as far as we know. But at this point, we know 1 dead, 22 shot and injured, plus whatever injuries happened from people running and knocking other people over and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And it was chaos I couldn't even imagine. I guarantee you that I'm sure I know dozens of people who were there. Just because of all my friends and my mom's the only one who lives in Kansas City now, but she would not go to a Chiefs celebration. I'm sure she watched it on television, but but no, I know that she wasn't there, but I'm sure I had plenty of friends who were. So far, thank God, I've not heard anything about any of my friends being hurt.
And former coworkers.
A lot of former coworkers were there as well. Yeah, both TV and radio, because I've worked in both in Kansas City. But I did live there for a while. But so I actually texted a buddy of mine who does the morning show over in Kansas City. His name's Pete Mundo. And I just said, man, tough day, best of luck. I'm glad they've got him there as a resource, because Pete will take this as a very, very level-headed approach and make sure that everybody's able to get things off their chest. I mean, you talk about what happens in your community. When something like this happens in your community, I'm trying to only imagine what would happen if this happened in St. Louis.
Yeah.
I mean, so Kansas City's over there. It's in the same, it's in the same state, and St. Louis has adopted the Chiefs as their NFL team.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is massive news everywhere in the country right now, but it's 4 hours down the road from us.
Yeah. Now, to be fair, I mean, there's 6-7 million people in the state of Missouri.
Yeah, about six and a quarter. Yeah.
And the crowd estimate is just shy of 1 million,
Mhm.
essentially. So it's a seventh of the population was in one place at one time when all this kind of broke out. So, yes, it's 4 hours away, but, you probably know somebody who knows somebody.
I bet you that almost everybody who's listening here, if you've got friends who are football fans, you probably knew somebody there because there was a big St. Louis contingent. I know that at the celebration.
I think for those of us who live in St. Louis, even though there's a competition between the cities, I think we still underneath look at them as sort of a sister city to us.
Yeah.
And we feel a familiarity with them. We like Kansas City. And despite the competition that may be there, we still pray that everything works out regarding the situation, and we lift those people up.
Absolutely.
And if they got the right people, if they've arrested the right people, they don't go easy on them. This is a very deep blue liberal town, and again, I'm not saying that to be political, but what you hope is that the court system there does everything they can to throw these people into a cell and just leave them there if they've got the right people.
Yeah. Gosh. Oh, it's sad that we actually have to think of things in those terms now. But here's the thing. History has been telling us, the recent history, I'll say, has been telling us that in these cities, you can do stuff like this and still walk free or walk out with a pittance of bail money put up. So, gosh, I hope they throw the book at them. I hope they set the bail so high that they'll never see the light of day or they won't see the light of day until their court dates. But gosh.
And then give them a good defense attorney.
Sure.
Give them a very fair trial.
Yes.
Keep it all above board, and then lock them up for as long as we can possibly lock them up under the law.
Absolutely.
Right.
Bury them under the jail.
Yeah, pretty much. All right. Planned Parenthood still going to get your taxpayer money in Missouri, but there's a lot of the stories and the headlines that doesn't tell the whole story.
Okay.
So let's do that right around 6:36 here on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
Like us on Facebook at News Talk STL.
She's got to be somebody's baby. She must be somebody's baby. She's got to be somebody's baby. She's so fine.
Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
We had a few very early morning showers move through, even some thunder in spots, but that's in the rearview mirror now. So as we move ahead, breezy northwest winds kick in behind a cold front. Some morning clouds making way for sunshine in the midday and afternoon, up to about 54 this afternoon. Increasing cloudiness tonight, but dry, right around the freezing mark when you wake up Friday. And friends, here comes some snow. Anywhere from a dusting to as much as 3 inches in spots from tomorrow morning into the afternoon. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
We all know the healthcare system's broken. It's not about you. It's about the code, the bill, the 7-minute appointment. Hi, it's Dr. Randy Tobler, and I've developed a better way that restores old-fashioned values with a holistic approach to your healthcare. That means affordable, available, no copay or deductible primary care. And with my 30-plus years as an OBGYN, there's added value for women and couples. Whether it's a new or nagging problem, you need a second look at a troubling diagnosis, or simply want a trusting, relationship-based healthcare experience, give us a look at Body of Health Direct Primary Care. Our mission is to provide exceptional, accessible, and truly affordable care where the focus is on you, not insurance denial and cookbook medicine experts. And with your membership, there's a number of perks, including hundreds of free meds, in-office ultrasound, common diagnostic tests, and more. Interested in seeing me or learning more about healthcare the way it ought to be? Schedule an appointment or a discovery call at bodyofhealth.com. That's bodyofhealth.com.
Hello, my name's Chad Clayman with ClaymanGroup.com, KLAMEN Group.com. We're local and family owned. We buy houses in as-is condition direct from the seller. Last year, we bought over 75 houses, and the reason that matters to you, we're able to buy so many houses because we make such competitive offers. So if you're thinking about selling a house as is, please reach out. We're definitely interested in competing and providing you with the best offer and the best price. KLAMEN Group.com.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
It's Thursday at 4:25. We'll have Heritage's Dakota Wood on talking about the conflict in Israel. And at 5:25, Royal Bank of Missouri CEO Mitch Baden.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Bill O'Reilly here. Check out the O'Reilly Update this afternoon at 3:45. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
I don't know this song.
This is Faith No More.
Oh, because everybody knows them from the song Epic, but that's about all they know from them.
This one is We Care a Lot.
Oh, okay. That's got a little funky rock thing going on there. I like this.
And time-wise, it's in your wheelhouse
It
from
is.
85.
I know I know the band, but they had that one song called Epic, which I think is an awful song. But I like this better than that song.
Mhm.
Yeah, interesting. All right, 6:35. I'm like, I don't usually hear stuff from that era that I don't know. I usually know that. All right, let's see here. As of right now, Planned Parenthood in Missouri is going to continue to get Medicaid money. Now, there's some misinformation going on in the news and on social media, so I want to clear some of that up. Let's do that here in a second. By the way, we've got an update for you on the tragedy in Kansas City, 6:50. We're going to talk about that part of our news roundup. We're going to keep you informed throughout the day. All right, it's 6:36. I'm Mike Ferguson. Got Gabe Pfeiffer here. Got Stel Ponticus here. The number is 314-912-1019. Okay, so the headlines that you're seeing everywhere, Missouri's Supreme Court says Planned Parenthood can continue to receive funding. They upheld an appeal from the state, or they upheld a lower court ruling from the appeal. And so a lot of people you're seeing on social media, statements from Planned Parenthood. We told you it was unconstitutional to withhold funding from us. They can't deny us funding like any other quote-unquote medical provider, et cetera. Yeah. Okay, but that's not really what's happening here. And also, there have been some criticisms like Jay Ashcroft and some others have put out on social media. See, the liberal justices on the Missouri Supreme Court are determined to find a way to fund Planned Parenthood. And I think he's at least partially right on that.
Okay.
But the responses have been, people are quick to point out, hey, the majority of this court has been appointed by Republican governors. Okay, that's the first step of misinformation I want to point out.
Okay.
Yes, they were appointed by Republican governors, but remember, governors don't pick the candidates for the state Supreme Court in Missouri.
Oh, really?
That's right. Because the left, those on the left and others in the media, they're quick to point out, they're like, hey, Republicans did this. This is just constitutional. Okay, we have what's called the Missouri Plan, which a lot of lawmakers, Nick Schroer and some others, are trying to get rid of. I don't think they're going to be able to do it, but they're really trying to get rid of it, and they should get rid of it. Because you look at the federal model, if you're elected president, that's part of the checks and balances. You're the one picking the candidates, the nominees for judgeships at the federal level and U.S. Supreme Court level, and then there's a check and balance with the U.S. Senate.
Right.
In Missouri, the Supreme Court plan is where the Bar Association, the lawyers, they select 3 nominees.
Oh, geez.
And then the governor can only pick from one of those nominees.
Oh, well, there it is.
And so
that's the story.
Right. And so they're saying, Republicans picked these justices. It was Republican governors who did that. Well, yes, but they were not allowed to go out and get their own nominees in the state of Missouri.
See, that's what we call the an illusion of choice, right?
Right.
When you're bringing up your kid, they're like 3 years old. You don't say, what do you want for dinner to your 3-year-old? You give them a choice. Hey, would you like this thing that I prepared already, or this thing which I can easily prepare? Because
choice is yours.
The choice is yours. Like, no, you chose.
Yeah,
you chose, and it's the same thing. So the Bar Association, which is notoriously left leaning.
Yes,
right. They're the ones who are going to say, "Oh, here are your 3 picks for judges." You know, there's no conservative judge in that group.
Not really.
No.
Now there's some who are more centrist.
Sure,
but no, there really aren't true conservatives.
No, you're not going to say a conservative or an originalist type judge or anything like that in among those nominees. I guarantee you.
Yeah. So here's the other part of this that I want to get out ahead of, so that you're aware. This ruling was done on procedural grounds.
Okay, so it wasn't even on the merits.
Right, wasn't even on the merits of the case. And so what that means in layman's terms is that the court was not making a ruling on whether it is legal or illegal for the legislature to cut off Planned Parenthood from the Medicaid funding.
Right.
Now, that's the story that the media, and that's a story that Planned Parenthood is going to try to tell you, but that's not actually what happened.
Because they're lying liars, they're lying.
Right. And so the trial judge basically made the ruling that they just upheld for a couple of reasons. One, because they violated there was an argument about the state's requirement that legislation contain a single subject. So when it's beneficial for the left to go, hey, there's more than one subject, then they'll sue on those grounds. But also the Supreme Court said the Attorney General's office didn't appeal the equal protection claim. There was an equal protection claim that Planned Parenthood was making, saying you can't include other so-called healthcare providers and not include us. And that part was not appealed by the Attorney General's office, according to the court. So therefore, they said you didn't appeal it. Then it stands because you didn't appeal it.
Okay, so it's kind of a now. Are they open to this being revisited, or are they sending it to a different court?
Well, this is basically about a 2022 funding bill in the 2022 dollars.
Oh,
so this settles it. So
okay.
Planned Parenthood is going to get their reimbursement for non-abortion things, because now abortion obviously illegal in the state of Missouri, other than when the life of the mother is at stake, and so the state legislature can still try to cut off Planned Parenthood from funding, but they're going to have to find a way to do it within the constraints of this ruling and of the law. They need to change the law is what has to happen, because, Planned Parenthood, among their arguments, is saying we don't do abortions in Missouri anymore, so therefore you shouldn't be penalizing us and cutting us off from all this Medicaid funding. There's not a single thing that Planned Parenthood does outside of abortion that you cannot get anywhere else.
Right.
Anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, what's the limit of what they actually do besides, I guess, a consultation for an abortion? I mean, is what they'll still do, because they'll send people across the river if they can, or to whatever neighboring state where they could do something, and then I think you can get a pill. You can get the pill there.
Yeah, I mean, and they do STI and STD, screenings and treatments, but so does your neighborhood clinic.
Yeah.
So there's nothing they do that you can't get somewhere else. The only difference with Planned Parenthood is that they are a powerful political activist with a lot of money.
Yeah.
And their primary source of revenue is abortion. And then that is done. And if they say, no, that's only a small part of what we do, BS, because you look at their tax returns and you look at their financial disclosures, and they have to admit that they are an abortion business. That's what they do.
Yep.
And then they funnel a whole lot of money into trying to get left-wing activists elected to different offices around the states and around the country. So the bottom line here is that Planned Parenthood is going to get Missouri taxpayer money again. Unfortunately, it's going to continue to get it for the time being. The Missouri legislature, the Republicans in the Missouri legislature, need to get their heads out of their backsides. And I'm talking about the leadership for the most part. They have the ability to allow these changes in the law to go into effect, but that's been slow rolled as well. I mean, we know about the initiative petition slow roll, but there's been some slow rolling on that as well over the years, when the reality is that it can be done. It's just a question as to whether or not the Missouri legislature has the gumption, has the guts, has the backbone to actually get it done and say, we will not send any money to this organization, even if they're not doing abortions in our state. We know they're referring them to other places. We know what they're advocating for.
and taxpayers should not have to pay that. Nobody's being denied medical care because Planned Parenthood doesn't get taxpayer money, because all of that medical care is going somewhere. It's going to other providers. It just doesn't have to go to the left-wing political activist one that makes a lot of money, and they built their entire entity on slaughtering human beings.
How long ago could we have done this?
Oh, I could have done it when the Republicans took the supermajority. I mean, it won.
That was when, like 10 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, because for instance, when Tim Jones became speaker, they had a majority, but it wasn't a super.
It wasn't a super majority. Yeah.
And then after time, it became a super majority after a number of years, and so they really could have done this.
Yeah, ages
and they
ago.
did, and they did try it. They did pass the funding bill.
Sure.
It wasn't a law, but they passed a funding bill saying, basically just zeroing out anything for Planned Parenthood. That's where the lawsuit came, and they said, hey, you can't kick us out of the Medicaid program and reimbursements, and they can't do that. And that's where the court ruling, and that's what the Supreme Court said. Nope, Planned Parenthood should have been in the 2022 funding. So that's what we're talking about is 2022. Ugh. So if you've got somebody who says, oh no, the courts have ruled Planned Parenthood gets taxpayer money, Medicaid money. Well, they did for 2022, probably will affect 2023 as well. And then, the lawmakers this year, they've got a limited amount of time to try to get it done to cut them out this time.
Doesn't look like they're going to do it, though. I mean,
they're going to try. I really do think
they're going to try.
Curtis Trent's running the budget, and he's really conservative.
Okay.
So
right.
they're going to try.
Okay.
Now,
well, somebody's going to try.
Yeah.
But is the wider body, the wider leadership, are they really going to try? I mean, let's
TBD.
Okay.
To be determined.
All right.
We'll see whether it happens. All right. Chaos in Kansas City. We've got the news roundup coming your way here. Going to bring you up to date on that. 314-912-1019. Man, there's a lot going on today, and a lot of it's kind of heavy. But be a part of the conversation. I mean, you see this kind of chaos and tragedy, especially as something that should be so jubilant. I mean, it hits you even if you're not part of the Chiefs Kingdom fan club, you know. So it's just really brutal. All right, it is 646 right now on 1019 94.1 News Talk STL, number one for live and local conservative talk.
This is News Talk STL at 1019 94.1 99.1 HD3 and newstalkstl.com. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Hey, thank you very much for taking my call.
News, analysis, opinion.
Yes, I just want you to know what a breath of fresh air you people are.
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Tim Jones here. I'm with Eric from Newsteaders, Newsteaders Fine Jewelers. Eric, Newsteaders has been around since 1961. Tell us the story.
Well, Richard started this 62 years ago, and we've stayed a local family-owned store since then. We've actually got 3 generations of Newsteaders working in the store. Richard, his wife, his daughter, and his granddaughter, and we all love what we do. We're kind of a St. Louis family tradition, and we do a lot of unique and one-of-a-kind custom pieces, as well as repairs. There's basically nothing that we can't do, and all of our work is done on site, so you can feel secure knowing that your jewelry never leaves, which is unusual now. And we can computer generate images of custom pieces if you want to go custom. We can take that old jewelry that you're not wearing, and we can turn that into something new that you absolutely love.
Newsteaders, a St. Louis jewelry tradition since 1961. Stop by and find out why. 2961 Daughtery Ferry Road, or on the internet, wowdiamonds.com for Newsteaders Fine Jewelers.
It's a new year, so come check out the great financing offers going on now at Seavers JCB. Rates as low as 0.99% on nearly all JCB compact construction equipment, including the industry-leading JCB Teleskid. For details, go to SeaversJCB.com. Mini excavators, track loaders, small wheel loaders, and even the industry-leading JCB compact load all range. Seavers JCB has them all. Visit SeaversJCB.com for more information.
Hi, everybody. It's Todd Showalter from The Right Mind Show. The weather is cold, the world is woke, and our president is a joke.
Gee, Todd, it sounds like people need something to be happy about.
You're darn right, Joey. That's why every Saturday from 5 until 6, it's The Right Mind Show.
Boy, I feel giddy.
I bet you do. That's because we put the fun in our dysfunctional world.
I want to sing.
Not now.
I'm full of joy.
Yeah, well, we're full of something, Joey.
It's The Right Mind Show with Todd Showalter. Saturday afternoons at 5 on News Talk STL. This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Finally, I figured out, but it took a long, long time.
Hey, this is Larry Connors. Make sure you're listening later today at 6 o'clock on News Talk STL for my show, Larry Connors USA. Now, back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
See, this song actually proves the fact that there actually were a couple of good songs in the 90s.
Yeah, this was mid-90s. I think you're right. Sister Hazel, a band that kind of disappeared after the mid-90s.
they actually had, a couple of albums? There was some pretty decent stuff from them. There were a few bands in that area that had some good stuff. And just, for those of us who looked at the 90s as kind of a wasteland of music, there were a few bright spots.
Yes.
There were a few.
Yeah, this track got a lot of airplay.
This did. Three Doors Down.
Yes.
Was another really good band from there. Soul Asylum was a pretty good one as well. Goo Goo Dolls started in the 90s. So, yeah, there was a lot of good in it.
Gin Blossoms? Were they
I had that. They were. That was because I was in college, and I think that was, 93, 94. I had that album, the tape. I had the cassette of the Gin Blossoms. I like that one. Gin Blossoms and Soul Asylum and Meat Puppets.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, all right, let's get kind of where this strikes really at the heart, because even though we're not in Kansas City, I think almost all of us, I know people who were at the celebration in Kansas City. The Chiefs win the Super Bowl. They come from behind in overtime. They get their third Super Bowl. They're talking dynasty. They're all excited about, Patrick Mahomes, and the whole world's watching with Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift, and everything is just up to date in Kansas City, as the song goes.
And the story seems to be that Andy Reid wants to come back just to give one more try to get another championship, because that would be...
Oh, I didn't realize there was talk about him retiring.
Yeah, I think there was.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Just undercurrent of the possibility, but I think he made a comment sometime in the last day or so that I think I want to be back.
Yeah. So you've got everything in Kansas City they're riding high in Kansas City. They're talking about building a brand new baseball stadium for the Kansas City Royals downtown. You mentioned, we look at Kansas City sometimes as like a sister city. Kansas City looks at St. Louis as, all right, that's our sibling, but it's the older sibling that looks down on us, and we just want to beat them. There is a rivalry. I've having lived in both. St. Louis is more industrial, more in tune with history. We're more culturally like a Boston. We value, our history. We value our architecture. You need to really know the community before you're kind of accepted in it. That's why literally everybody makes the jokes about, where'd you go to school? That kind of stuff. Kansas City culturally is more like Denver. They like new shiny things. They want to knock down historic buildings as quick as they can to build up the coolest new thing. They want tech. They want all, that's how I see culturally the differences between the two since I've lived there. But still, we're in the same state.
And we have the I-70 series.
We have the
Cardinals, Royals.
Absolutely. And is there a rivalry? Sure, to some degree, but it's not that I really can't stand them type of rivalry.
Not at all.
It's a friendly, rivalry because it is part of the state. I remember talking to some of my friends who actually work for the Chiefs radio network years ago when Stan Kroenke screwed over St. Louis, and I was just chatting with him. And these are, if you listen to the radios, these are the people you're listening to. And I said, the Chiefs are nuts if they do not load up
18-wheelers full of T-shirts with an arch that says Gateway to Chiefs Kingdom.
Yeah.
Put the Chiefs cheerleaders in a van right behind that 18-wheeler and just drive to St. Louis and have the cheerleaders hand those things out. And they were like, yeah, that's a really good idea, but there's like this code of the road where you don't, you don't make one of the owners mad and all this kind of stuff.
Sure.
But
Yeah,
Kansas City
whatever.
Chiefs have won over St. Louis.
Yeah, I mean, they managed to somehow.
We've got the Battlehawks, which, obviously I've got a story about that here in a minute as well.
I'm more excited about that.
Yeah, I am too. But there's a connection. There's a rivalry, there's a connection. We're two very different cities, but there's a connection there. And so at the celebration, hundreds of thousands of people there. Police in Kansas City confirm one person is dead and 22, as far as we know right now, who were shot as well at Union Station right after the Chiefs Super Bowl parade wrapped up. This is their police chief. Her name is Stacey Graves.
At the conclusion of the Chiefs rally today, there were shots fired on the west side of Union Station. Immediately, officers responded to the area, took 2 people into custody, and also immediately rendered life-sustaining aid to those victims. 9 of those victims who were shot were children. As of this morning, I am told by a source in Kansas City that none of those are life-threatening.
Yeah.
They're serious,
Thank
but
God
none are
for that.
critical at this point. So there were some children who got hurt really bad, and that's just, we're talking about those who were shot. There were other people injured, when you have that kind of stampede and people running and chaos. So there were never, I don't know how many there were on that. So we are going to talk in more depth about this right around 7:20.
Sure. Yeah.
or
And
so.
and as the updates come in, I'm sure all of the other live and local shows that we have going on here will update you as well.
Right, absolutely, throughout the day. Okay, Bridgeton's mayor has died. City made that announcement on Wednesday. This was a surprise.
Whoa,
Yeah. Terry Briggs was first elected in 2015, reelected each election cycle since then. Cause of death not released yet. They're already talking about releasing memorial service plans. I mean, he was older, but we don't. There's no indication there's any sort of foul play or anything. But it was just unexpected death of the mayor.
He's
of
only
Bridgeton.
68.
Yeah. Oh, I thought he was older than that. Oh, okay. All right. Well, he was very, very popular with a lot of people I know with the municipal networks here. He was very, very well thought of.
Man.
All right. How about time for this one? You know what? Let me go to something just to kind of give us a little bit of a breather here. Is AJ coming back to the Dome?
Ooh.
Okay. So
Here we go.
Yeah, I don't think you've heard about this
I have
yet.
not.
Okay. So it looks that way. So multiple reports say quarterback AJ McCarron asked for his release from the Cincinnati Bengals so that he can come back and play for the St. Louis Battlehawks.
Nice. Okay. All
now,
right.
the Cincinnati Bengals have confirmed that, yes, they have given him his release, and he's requested it.
Wow.
So there's no official word from the UFL. There's no official word from the St. Louis Battlehawks. Little Birdie told me that he's going to be signing a contract this afternoon.
Okay, all right.
With the Battlehawks, but that's not confirmed. That's rumored to be. So I'm just adding to the rumor, but I'm telling you that's what is circulating. AJ McCarron, of course, the XFL League MVP last season.
Okay, that says a lot, actually. That he's like, you know what? It's like, I got this NFL thing going, but you know what? I'd rather go back to the Battlehawks.
Well, the reality is that he was signed to be on their practice squad. He made it to the main roster.
Mhm.
And then another guy really shone through. So he was basically the number 3 quarterback.
Right.
He was not going to get any playing time.
Sure.
And he says, St. Louis was good to me.
Yeah.
So that's what we're hearing. So more details on that probably later on today, allegedly. But I can't confirm it. I'm just saying that it might happen. That's all I'm saying. Blues are at home tonight. They play the Edmonton Oilers. Puck drops at 7 p.m.
Missouri education officials must be bad poker players. They keep doubling down on the same bad bet. Public school students haven't been reading or doing math at their grade level for way too long. Last year, a horrifying 40% were regarded as not college or career ready after high school. Many states have adopted school choice. Iowa, Oklahoma, and Arkansas all provide money so families can choose the public or private school that works for them. And Kansas has one of the strongest public school choice programs in the nation. Nearly every family in Missouri is given exactly 2 choices for their children's education. They're assigned public school or learning online. That's it. Our neighbors trust their parents to choose the right school for their kids. Missouri doesn't. so enrollment is already shrinking. That will mean fewer high school graduates, college students, and workers. A bad bet indeed. Check out our 2024 blueprint, moving Missouri forward at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Hey, Tony Colombo here for Gutter Pros. When Christine and I bought our new house, we knew the gutters were an issue, and after meeting the Gutter Pros team, we knew that they were right for us. Gutter Pros is your all-in-one gutter service team that offers a variety of affordable solutions, and they even offer free estimates, so there's no cost to you to find out if they are right for your home, just like they were for ours. If you're having a problem with your gutters, contact the Gutter Pros now, because with Gutter Pros, water goes where they tell it to. Call them at 314-656-7195 or visit gutterpros.com.
Hi, this is Ron Clutho. Join me for Groovy Grooves every Saturday to hear songs like this and memories that will take you back to a groovier place and time. Be sure to check out the playlist at newstalkstl.com for more Groovy Grooves.
And now for something completely different.
Just a good old boy.
Groovy Grooves with Ron Clutho, Saturday nights at 10 on News Talk STL.
Beats all you never saw. Been in trouble with the law since the day they was born.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. A day of celebration turns into a day of terror and mourning in Kansas City. Gunfire erupted near the end of yesterday's big Super Bowl victory festivities.
Touched a total of 22 gunshot victims. One of those was a fatality. We had 8 what we considered immediately life-threatening patients. We had 7 with life-threatening injuries, and we had 6 that had minor injuries.
The Kansas City Fire Chief speaking with KMBC TV. We don't know exactly what touched off the shootings, but 3 people have been detained and some firearms have been recovered. The deceased victim was a mother of 2, at least 8 children among the injured. The Kansas City mayor says that these days seems like almost nothing is safe. Friend and foe alike, urging the release of the transcript of the president's special counsel interview.
President Joe Biden avoided criminal charges around his handling of classified documents, in part because of his answers during a lengthy interview with the special counsel investigating him. The 5-hour interview over 2 days was led by special counsel Robert Hur. It helped establish that Biden did not intend to retain most of the sensitive records from his vice presidency found at his home or personal office. But the sit-down has also opened Biden to scrutiny over his age and memory. Now the public release of a transcript of that discussion is being sought by both Biden's allies and critics. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
There's a hearing set today in the Trump Georgia election interference case. Embattled Fulton County DA Fonnie Willis due to testify. Misconduct allegations against her could result in Willis being removed from the case. Wall Street could be set to recover some more of what it lost in the recent sell-off. Stock futures are higher this morning. The Dow futures up 64 points. NASDAQ futures 33 points higher. More on these stories at townhall.com.
You know, it's Dennis Prager. I am excited to announce the all-new Pragertopia Plus. You can listen to my show whenever it's convenient for you, all commercial-free and all on demand. Now with Prager Plus, search topics, guests, and segments all the way back to 2010. And now a truly exciting new benefit. My monthly online video get-together for Pragertopia Plus members only. This is where for an hour each month, Pragertopia Plus members get an exclusive chance to ask me anything. That's right, anything. It's on video. I'll be talking to you and answering your questions. We may even have a special guest every now and then. I've never done this. Submit your questions for me at Pragertopia.com. This is only available to Pragertopia Plus members. This is our chance to connect like never before. Go to Pragertopia.com or click the banner at DennisPrager.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
We had a few very early morning showers move through, even some thunder in
spots, but that's in the rearview mirror now. So as we move ahead, breezy northwest winds kick in behind a cold front. Some morning clouds making way for sunshine in the midday and afternoon, up to about 54 this afternoon. Increasing cloudiness tonight, but dry, right around the freezing mark when you wake up Friday. And friends, here comes some snow. Anywhere from a dusting to as much as 3 inches in spots from tomorrow morning into the afternoon. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
My friend, death is certain. Are you prepared? Larry Connors here. I don't want to scare you, but your funeral plans are an important conversation you need to have with your spouse, family, other loved ones. My friend Benjamin Schaefer at Senior Memorial can help find you an affordable, final expense life insurance policy, regardless of your health condition. You could qualify up to $30,000 of lifetime coverage. Life insurance plans with Senior Memorial also offer living benefits towards hearing and diabetic supplies, access to a 24-hour teledoc service, discounts on urns, caskets, tombstones. Call my friend Benjamin at Senior Memorial and discover your legacy at 314-866-8886 or visit memorialplans.com. Memorialplans.com. Senior Memorial Heritage Protection.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning brought to you by Window World. Simply the best for less. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com. Mike Ferguson.
You play ball like a girl!
Gabe Pfeiffer.
I triple dog dare you!
Get up! Get up! Can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of Kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice, drain the swamp, and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now, believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the Morning on News Talk STL.
Get up! Get up! This is your cousin.
Okay, is there a case to be made for kids to be in school fewer days?
Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm open to
the
it.
Show Me Institute has actually been looking into this as far as education reform, and they've got some interesting results of what they found. We're going to talk about that here in a minute. But first, okay, before I go to the rest of the news, I know I just kind of walked in right before that weather forecast played. What in the world was Steve talking about? Snow?
He threw that S word in there.
What kind of nonsense is that?
How dare he?
It's been 50 degrees.
Right. Yeah.
Knock it off, Steve.
You doing,
Just
man?
saying, man, don't do that. Okay, obviously a whole more serious note. We're going to update you on what we know about the terror in Kansas City that happened during the Chiefs championship parade. We're keeping an eye on that, and throughout the hour, throughout the day, we'll have updates for you on that. But we're going to go into more depth on that at 7:20.
I think it was Matt Chambers, by the way. I don't want to blame Steve.
Okay, we'll bring Steve back.
Because Steve would never use that type of language on our station.
And what's this Matt dude? I don't know him. Steve doesn't do that sort of thing. All right, 7:06 right now. Gabe's here, Stell's here. I'm Mike Ferguson, and again, we're going to go into more depth on what we know about what happened in Kansas City at the Chiefs championship parade. Or the celebration as well, right after the parade as well, was just an absolutely horrific situation. Joined now by Daryl Jones from the Herzog Foundation, and we're going to talk obviously education, Daryl, here in just a minute, and particularly the Show Me Institute, which we know very well here. Matter of fact, I used to be their communications director at one point.
Wow.
And so I know they do some fantastic work, and we'll chat about that. But you all have a national reach and national impact, do a lot of work in Missouri as well, but you're actually based just outside of Kansas City. How are you and your staff doing? Because it's one thing for us to be horrified by what happened 4 hours down the road, but this is your community. This is where you are.
Yeah, it's just heartbreaking. I mean, it really is when you hear that Children's Mercy Hospital was taking children who had been shot, and I mean it's just so nonsensical. I mean, Mike, it just goes to continue to underscore we have such a moral problem in terms of value of life. a concern for people, a love for neighbor, and it just becomes more and more evident. And I know there are those who are arguing that the issues are guns. I just think there's a heart problem across the country that certainly that's where the Christian faith comes in. It's Christ who changes hearts. But I'll tell you, it's we've been praying for families, and it's just for it to happen in Kansas City is just it's just tragic.
Yeah, and because obviously in the Midwest, and we're different than those big cities on the coasts, and then something like this happens.
Right.
I mean, that I lived in Kansas City for a while, so I know that area very well.
Sure.
But and I know
Sure.
I have no doubt. I haven't taken a head count yet, but I know a lot of people who are at that. Who were at that event the first time they had one. My daughter went down there. I didn't, but so I know how big those things really can be.
It's just I just in reflection. I mean, just the whole gamut of emotion. Everything from you've got three thugs who take advantage of an opportunity, coupled with an environment where we've been Kansas City's been touting defund the police, defund the police, defund the police, and then you defund the police. And then, we're all outraged that, there are thugs with a different moral compass.
Yeah, exactly.
And, just the full gamut of emotion.
Yeah, and the thing that St. Louis needs to remember here is statistically, per capita, we're more violent than Kansas City. And so that should be a reality check for everybody as well.
Yeah.
But let's talk about education here. So the Show Me Institute digs into the data, and they dig into the research. And they've actually come up with something that says, hey, maybe schools ought to consider going from 5 days a week to 4 days a week. And you all are looking in this really, really heavily. Now, if you're doing a homeschool, you can obviously schedule however you want to do it. But when it comes to education in general, what do you make of what the Show Me Institute has come up with?
Well, the research they have done is what became apparent was there's no research on the topic. So, right now, 28% of school districts in the state of Missouri are moving from a 5-day to a 4-day schedule. And there's no data that actually says, hey, this is a really good thing. So what the Show Me Institute did was they just went on a search to find out what does the data say. They found 12 different documented research studies that each dealt with an aspect, a nuance. But when it comes of what's out there, what do we find? But of those 12 sources, those 12 research papers and topics, the conclusion is that this is really not a good thing. This is really not advised. Yeah. Specifically, when you're looking at how does a 4-day school week affect student achievement? How does it affect school district finances? How does it affect teacher recruitment and retention? And how does it rate in terms of parental satisfaction? What the data records is that across the board, there's a negative effect on all of it. Student achievement. It turns out if students don't go to school, that's really not good for their academic performance. Go figure. Who saw that coming? Interesting in terms of school finances. Yes, a 4-day school week does cut the expenses of a school district. Coincidentally, it cuts the income of a school district by 20% as well. So, I mean, it's a wash in terms of, hey, this is a great thing. It's really not a great thing in terms of school district finances. When it came to teacher recruitment and retention, there were 3 studies out there. One said that teachers love it. Another said that teachers hate it because they're not having access to instructing children. And a third study said teachers are, whatever. They're ambivalent. Whatever. So
those
again,
are the ones about to retire.
For sure.
Yeah.
So when it comes down to, hey, this is really let's follow the science. This is really a good move for education. Yeah, the data would say that's really not the case.
Morning, Daryl. Gabe here. So what was the impetus to start this whole 4-day school week idea to begin with, that 28% of Missouri public schools would even jump on that bandwagon?
I had no idea the number was that high.
That seems really high.
You stunned me. You stunned me with that information just now.
Absolutely. Well, it's all of the things. It's in terms not so much student performance, but it's school district finances, as well as there's a teacher shortage across the country. So what can schools do to retain teachers? But in both of those, where the research has delved into those two issues, it's proved to be not significant or negative. And in terms of the four different topics that the Show Me Institute was diving into and researching, it's a negative, a significant negative effect.
And I know
on education.
And I know that you all are going to have an event with James Scholes from Show Me Institute. We'll talk about that coming up here as well. But you also then have the residual effects of, hey, parents still, generally speaking, work 5 days a week. So what happens, especially with the elementary school kids, on that fifth day, be it a Monday or a Friday? So you've got another set of situations for the parents to deal with. But does this, while the debate directly, Daryl, is over 4 days or 5 days and 10 hours versus 8 hours or whatever it ends up being, but maybe for some older kids, maybe that does work. Maybe there's an apprenticeship. Maybe there's work. Maybe there's something that does work for them. Does this also lead to the conclusion that we still have to have education freedom and school choice in the mix when we're talking about an overall education approach like this?
Absolutely. When you're looking at what is the best in terms of across the board, those four areas that we've discussed, certainly opening doors for parents to have options, whether that's open enrollment, you can send your child to whichever school you believe, based on fair market, you think is in the best interest of your child. So if your school district is going to a 4-day school week, but you're not able to make that happen because of your occupation, if the legislature would open up the idea that, hey, there's universal school choice, you can find the district and the school that works for you, and if there's a 5-day school district right across the county line, then that's an option for you. Opening up charter schools, certainly in areas where there are 4-day school weeks, right? If 28% of Missouri school districts are now 4-day, certainly opening up the Most Scholars program or even the creation of charter schools to those districts that have gone 4-day for the sake of the families and the parents that are working 5 days a week, 6 days a week, and need the 5-day option for their children.
Yeah, and I just had a comment on the Rumble chat box of a parent in a rural school district where they have gone to 4 days, and she says, hey, it actually works for us because they're longer days and it's closer to matching the work day. And then, she's got the freedom to bring, appointments for the kids, doctors, or whatever the case is. So it's a matter of what fits for them. We don't know long term what any academic events, effect is going to be. I mean, I would argue that public schools, there's not a lot of learning going on in the first place for 5 days. So if you're going to not teach them cheaper for 4 days than teach them more expensive.
Well, the national report card probably wouldn't argue with you too much, but when it comes to the development and the education of a child, clearly 5 days of instruction are better than 4 days of instruction, even in rural communities. Mm-hmm. While there may be, certainly, I get it, a convenience for parents, to do doctor's appointments and to do those things. When you're talking about the education of children, you're still talking about a 5th day of no instruction, and that certainly has ramifications. It's one thing, you referenced it earlier. It's one thing when you're talking about home education or you're talking about a hybrid school that's 3 days of instruction and then, the balance. But in the balance of that and in home education, they're still working. They're still being educated. They're still reading textbooks. They're still moving forward. It's not a 3-day weekend.
Good morning, Daryl.
So concerning.
Oh, sorry, buddy. Stal Ponticus here. Just a quick comment from you regarding this situation of going to a 4-day school week. How would that work out for extracurricular activities?
Right. Yeah, that's a great question. You'd have to ask, those certainly the rural school districts or those. Independence is probably the largest school district in the state. that has now moved into this. And I think that's really what prompted the Show Me Institute's research to say, wow, as larger school districts are now jumping into this, what's the science behind it? What's the data show about it? Are we missing something? Is this a better option for the education of children? And again, their study has concluded, 25-page summary that it's not. It has a negative impact on the education of children.
Okay, and you've got an event coming up with James Scholes from the Show Me Institute, and James in kind of the education field. I mean, he's kind of the growing, rock star with his, status at UMSL and with the Show Me Institute and the research he does. I mean, he's just really good at what he does, and he's also a good friend of Rachel and mine. I've got a few stories that I could tell
great.
to have some. But anyway, so you have an event coming up with James that's looking at this in particular. What is that, and is this something people can tune in and watch? And I don't think it's here in St. Louis. Yeah. So what's going on with that?
Yeah, absolutely. We're really excited about it. I mean, with our focus on K-12 Christian education across the country, certainly what's going on in our own backyard in the state of Missouri is of interest to us. So we have convened Avery Frank and Dr. James Scholes with the researchers who did the research, as well as a friend of the foundation, Dr. Eric Weirn with Kennesaw State University. He focuses on a nationwide hybrid school conference. I mean, this is a whole kind of school. I referenced it just a couple of minutes ago, where it's combination home and classroom, but it's still 5 days of education. Anyway, we're convening these folks. Excited about Monday, February 26th. We're going to be in Jefferson City at 6 o'clock. And if you can get there, anybody who can get there, it's a free panel discussion where these three guys are going to be going through their research, but not just the research, but actually having a roundtable discussion about what does this mean? What are the ramifications? Is this good? How is this good? Is this bad? How is this bad? And what can you do to educate your children? So we're excited about really a robust conversation, we believe.
Okay.
Coming up February 26th.
That's what I was about to ask, if we can get that date again, February 26th. More information at herzogfoundation.com.
Absolutely. herzogfoundation.com. You can find a link where you can actually register to be a part of it, and we'd love for you to join in the conversation.
And don't forget Read Line.
That's right, readline.com.
Listen, everything going on across the country in K-12 education, readlion.com, everything about Christian education and how resources that we make available to parents and to churches across the country for a Christian option for education for your kids, herzogfoundation.com.
All right, Daryl, great talking to you again. Thanks so much, and I'm glad everybody on your team is okay, at least as far as we know.
Thanks,
that's just a horrific situation.
God bless you guys.
All right, thanks, Daryl.
Thanks,
All right,
Daryl.
314-912-1019. We've got what we know, the updates regarding the tragedy in Kansas City, tragedy in Missouri. I mean, that's the one way we need to be looking at this.
Mm-hmm.
It's in another city, yes, but it's part of our state.
Those are our people.
And, the Kansas City Chiefs fans, they've taken on the moniker Chiefs Kingdom, and that's adopted St. Louis, and St. Louis has adopted that. So I bet you a lot of people listening right now, you've got somebody that was there. So I hope that everybody was among those who are okay. So we'll talk about that right around 7:24 here on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
We give you news, analysis, opinion, and more. Only on News Talk STL.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up, this is your cousin Rob.
Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Hey, St. Louis, my name is Rob Carter. If you are sick and tired of the corporate news bubble, if you like unedited information free from corporate money, if you want straight talk with no script, join me weeknights from 8 to 10 p.m. on The Rob Carter Show.
Live and local, weeknights at 8 on News Talk STL.
Congratulations to everyone at Connor Roofing. We chose the Connor Roofing team for our National Best of the Best Award for customer satisfaction without telling anyone at Connor Roofing, based on over 30 years of fantastic customer reviews. Rob and Kathy Connor and their team deliver very high quality roofing, siding, gutters, storm damage restoration at a fair price with integrity. Connor Roofing has had an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau for years. Count on Connor. For an estimate, please visit ConnorRoofing.com. That's CONNER roofing.com.
Tony Colombo here, reminding you to visit my friends at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton before your next trip into the great outdoors. For decades, Bluff City Outdoors has covered all the needs for area fishermen, and they'll always have all the best bait, tackle, and gear for your next trip on the water. And now they cover all your bow hunting needs, including their state-of-the-art indoor archery range and techno hunt system, open every day for you to come shoot, or you can join a league. Follow Bluff City Outdoors on Facebook and learn more at bluffcityoutdoors.com.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Sam Sorbo.
Children want to learn, and so what could be easier than teaching a child who wants to learn? Why it becomes difficult is because they make it such drudgery that the children give up on learning. They go, well, this is not fun. This is awful. When you set the child free, then they learn everything. They learn faster than you can possibly imagine.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps, weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Hey, Josh Hawley here. Come join me in Kansas City for Missouri State Lincoln Days on February 16th and 17th. It's going to be an amazing time. Amazing speakers. My family and I are going to be there. We want you to be there too as we talk about the fight to save our country. Don't wait. Get your tickets right now at mogop.org. I'm Josh Hawley, and I look forward to seeing you there.
Learn more and get tickets at mogop.org.
Paid for by the Missouri Republican Party. Jennifer Finch, Treasurer.
News Talk STL.
First thing in the morning and pretty much all day.
Live and local. 1019 and 94.1. News Talk STL.
Bill O'Reilly here. Check out the O'Reilly Update this afternoon at 3:45. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Okay, sorting through the details and the tears in Kansas City. Let's update you on that conversation here in just a moment. It's 7:25 right now. I'm Mike, got Gabe here, got Estelle here as well. Congressman Mike Bost is going to be with us at 7:35. So in 10 minutes, fresh off the vote to impeach Alejandro Mayorkas, fresh off the pushback against the McConnell-Schumer border bill, which is all but dead in the U.S. House. We're going to talk to the congressman here in about 10 minutes. Got any questions you want me to ask him? I'm going to watch the Rumble chat box. Stella and Gabe are going to watch the other social media platforms as well. Happy to consider your question for the congressman as well. He's going to be with us live because we are number one for live and local conservative talk. Okay, what we know in Kansas City so far at the conclusion, and this was at the end of the celebration. So if you were guys, were you at the Blues Stanley Cup celebration? Okay, so I was at that. Amber and I, my daughter and I, went to that. I was literally right underneath the arch for that whole drunken fest.
And the Rams celebration after the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
which was awesome.
I was not at that one. Were you at that one?
Yes.
Okay, so you got a feel for these things. So Kansas City, it's weird to think that Kansas City's had more world championships than St. Louis over the past several years.
Yeah.
Because they've had 3 Super Bowls, and then, of course, we're going back to, 2016 for the World Series. But they've had a number of these, and literally 750,000 to 1 million people show up for them. I mean, this is massive in Kansas City. So if anything, I am a little bit amazed that with that much gunfire that, and I hate to put it this way, only 22 people were injured and only one person was killed, because I don't want that to sound like I'm trying to diminish any of that. But what I'm saying is that there was a tremendous amount of providence and good fortune that protected more people from what could have been.
It's a miracle it wasn't worse.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So after the parade, and it looks to me, and this is what I'm still trying to figure out the timing, it looks like they probably already had their celebration at Union Station, because they set up a great big stage up there, and there's a rolling hill field that basically looks right up at the World War I memorial.
Right.
And it's a beautiful area, of Kansas City. Kansas City actually has a beautiful part of the downtown area, which a lot of cities don't. And so that's where you can put all the people. And it looks like people were starting to trickle out because all of the events were done.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce did their drunken singing and, everything. I mean, they did.
Right.
So all of that had already happened, and people were sort of milling about, and then a gunfight started. And this has every indication of a beef, some sort of gang-related activity. The police have not said that. I've just been doing media news long enough that I am telling you this is what this looks like.
Yeah.
So 3 people have been taken into custody. We don't know if there's going to be any more who were taken in custody. One woman was killed. She was a pretty popular Tejano music DJ.
Mm-hmm.
So, Hispanic, Latino music. She was a popular DJ both at, Hispanic events around Kansas City, and she was also a DJ on a community radio station. And so she was the one who was killed from a radio station called KKFI. And then 22 other people were shot. 9 of those were 15 and under. So 9 of those were children.
Yeah.
None of those are life-threatening, thank God. I don't know about the other, the adults who were hit as well. But the Children's Mercy Hospital has said that none of the children are in a life-threatening situation. Life-altering situation, that kid's gonna go the rest of their life trying to figure out how you went to celebrate your favorite football team winning a championship and then ended up being shot.
I'm watching the video for the first time of that overhead shot, I guess from a building across from. I'm not sure what the building is with the big banners that everybody seemed to be gathered around
that's
where the
Union
stage is.
Station.
That is their Union Station.
Yeah.
So it's basically on a corner. Right in front of Union Station where it seems to happen. And you just have the crowd milling about, and all of a sudden, everybody scatters and they run away from a very specific epicenter right pretty much at that corner. So, it's pretty obvious, what was going on right there. But like you said, Mike, thank God more people weren't injured.
I don't know how more people weren't hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't follow logic. So there just had to be some providential protection there for a lot of people in Kansas City.
Absolutely.
And of course, I'm not going to today go a deep dive into all the left-wing politicians who are trying to make it political.
Sure.
You know who they are. You know what they said.
It's standard.
It's the way that it goes.
We shouldn't have to refute their points at this point. It's self-evident.
And we shouldn't be rushing out when there are people who have been shot, rushing out and saying, I dare you to try to talk about guns, and that sort of thing. So that debate's renewing. I mean, that's happening. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
But right now, what you have is an entire community of Kansas City, which is as a metro area, is a little bit smaller than the. Well, yeah,
they're less spread out. I think.
Yeah. I mean, it's comparable in size to St. Louis, a little bit smaller than St. Louis in a metro area. But it's an area that in some ways is a lot like us, in some ways very different than us.
Mm-hmm.
But being only 4 hours away, we're essentially each other's backyards.
Yeah,
and so that's one of the reasons it stings so much. And secondly, sports, football, baseball, hockey, basketball, college, pro. All of these things are one of the few things in our culture and society that brings people together.
Or at least it used to be.
Yeah, 1 million people celebrating the Kansas City Chiefs winning the world championship. And there were Republicans there, Democrats there, black there, white there, Hispanic there, Asian there, poor there, rich there, liberal there, conservative there, libertarian there, green there, atheist, vegan, cowboy, everybody was there. And a few a-holes who have no regard for human life decided to put their beef with each other above the lives of everybody else and above one of the few things that people can look to bind a community together.
Yeah. Yeah, I imagine this shook a lot of people. The thing is, even if you were, a distance away from where the epicenter of the action, you heard the gunshots, you heard the screams. That's going to hit you because we're a community, right? We feel for each other.
Yeah, Jay Monty on Rumble. What happened in KC is 100% connected to the bad policies that the city has in place. Bad policies lead to bad actors, which lead to bad things that happen. I think that is correct, although you cannot forget just the cultural rot. And as Daryl Jones was saying earlier, the problems of the heart as well.
Absolutely.
But the policies exacerbate it. Let's put it that way.
Yep.
All right, Congressman Mike Bost going to be with us right around 7:36 here on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
Like and subscribe to us on Rumble. News Talk STL. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
We had a few very early morning showers move through, even some thunder in spots, but that's in the rearview mirror now. So as we move ahead, breezy northwest winds kick in behind a cold front. Some morning clouds making way for sunshine in the midday and afternoon, up to about 54 this afternoon. Increasing cloudiness tonight, but dry, right around the freezing mark when you wake up Friday. And friends, here comes some snow. Anywhere from a dusting to as much as 3 inches in spots from tomorrow morning into the afternoon. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
I got an email which brought a smile. A woman named Mary wrote me, "We are purchasing a new roof from John Beal based on your recommendation." I thanked her then. I do it again now. Mary, I only endorse clients I believe in, and I've been a spokesman for John Beal for 10 years. It's all about trust. So if, like Mary, you need John Beal, trust me. Call 1-800-NEW-ROOF. 1-800-NEW-ROOF.
This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
I'm going to share something very personal with you. It's a secret I kept from my wife, my children, even my pastor for years. I had an addiction. Now, first, let me stop for a moment. This is not to make light of anyone dealing with alcohol or drug addiction. And in fact, if you or someone you know suffers such addictions, get professional help. Mine was different, but nevertheless an addiction of a different type. As such things happened, it started out as, I guess I would say innocent, but I lost control. There were times that I convinced myself I had full control, but then I would get up in the middle of the night while the wife and kids were sleeping, and, I did that for a long time. And I was very good at hiding evidence of what I did, making sure nothing would be left behind to incriminate me and show that I was addicted. But then I got careless, got caught. My youngest spotted the silver foil wrapper at the bottom of the trash can, told her mother. She's in my face immediately. "Are you doing it again?" I mumbled yes. I was eating Pop-Tarts.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
Tim Jones here with Stewie, the bagel loan guy. Stewie, mom and dad always told me don't refinance unless you can save at least 1 percentage point. What say you?
We're going to break that rule of thumb with the bagel loan. No closing costs at all. Now, your mom always told you that because there was $3,000, $4,000 in fees you had to pay. If you're saving $100 a month, it takes you 40 months to recoup it. With the bagel loan, no closing costs at all.
What happens if rates drop?
Tim, just do it again. As long as it doesn't cost you anything, you'll be way ahead of the game, and that's what counts.
314-324-4440, or better yet, just Google the bagel loan.
MLS number 226715.
Hey, it's Tony Colombo for the cleaning pros at Zero Res, who are spreading the love for the month of February. We've trusted Zero Res with our home for years, and right now they have an incredible offer. Just book a cleaning in the month of February and mention the Colombo special, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $119, plus they'll throw in a free hallway, and you can take $50 off an air duct cleaning. Just mention the Colombo special when you call 314-474-2020 or book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL.
All your hard-earned tax dollars and mine are going to fund illegal aliens who come across the border penniless, jobless, skillless, and they're given a cell phone, an identity, and a cash stipend every month.
Mark McCloskey on fire.
That beats your Social Security income if you should have the good nature to work your ass off your whole life and retire.
Mark McCloskey on fire. Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL. Brought to you in part by Modern Weapon Systems in Fenton. The news and talk that affects St. Louis.
Representative Bush
is related to allegations of improperly spending federal security money.
This is 101.9 and 94.1.
The Federal Election Commission and the House Committee on Ethics are currently reviewing the matter.
News Talk STL.
Hello, morning people. Tony Colombo and Katie Fitzpatrick here.
Thanks for listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning here on News Talk STL. And don't forget to join us today at 2 for Colombo and Katie.
See you then.
You're in kind of a 90s mood today, still.
I guess I am. I hadn't noticed it until you mentioned it a few minutes ago.
Okay, the Homeland Security Secretary is impeached. The Schumer-McConnell border deal is dead, thank God. Where do we go from here? We're going to talk with Congressman Mike Bost about that in just a moment. Also, okay, hold on, everybody. Kind of hold on to your seats kind of thing. At 8:05, we're going to hear from a former lawmaker from the Florida legislature who says we need to completely rethink Black History Month. Completely rethink it. This is going to be interesting. And I think because I've seen some of his quotes, this is going to surprise you. This might actually make some people mad.
Okay.
Might make some other people applaud. 8:05, you do not want to miss this conversation. I'm just saying that, okay?
All right.
It's going to be, if nothing else, it's going to be really provocative.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to do that. All right, it's 7:38 right now, joined by Congressman Mike Bost from Illinois. And Congressman, it's great to talk to you. And I think...
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, is this the first time? I think we had you, first time we had you on this year, I think. So welcome back. Okay. Let me start with what's next. You voted to impeach Alejandro Mayorkas. I'm not holding out really any hope that the Senate is going to convict him or remove him from office. So why was it important to do that? And then I'll just tell you my follow-up question right now is the whole point of all this is the southern border and the protection of the country.
Sure.
Where do we go from here?
Well, first off, we have to try to force the Senate to move H.R. 2, which actually reinstates all of the things that President Trump had in place that actually President Biden could put right back in place, and that is going back to building a security border. You can call it a wall, whatever you want. I call it a wall. Want to push the Mexican government back into a position where they will remain in Mexico policy, which is actually should be according to all order of this world that we the policies that's the way it's supposed to be, remain in Mexico. Then also stop, catch, and release. We also need to increase. So the bill that was in the Senate only gave half of the amount of Border Patrol agents that we need, and we actually in H.R. 2 give the border agents the level that we need to actually secure the border until we get the border to a point where there are actually true openings where we can control that flow. We don't want to stop people from coming to this country completely. What we want to do is control the flow. Of course, the bigger problem is once we get all that done, that's stopping the bleeding. The real issue is after that, if we get the bleeding stopped or if we get a administration that actually will do all of these things, do you realize how many years it's going to take us to catch up on the people that have already been released in this country, that are here illegally, that don't have a right to citizenship, that need to be deported, and how we have to get that straightened out? So it's just one problem after another. And that's why we impeached Mayorkas, because, he is, you take an oath to do the job, to follow the Constitution, follow his laws. He ignored them. Now, I don't doubt that was from the direction of his superiors in the administration, but this blatant denial of Congress and of what is our law is what caused him to receive the impeachment vote that he did. Do I believe the Senate's going to take it up? No, I do not.
Real quick follow-up. You mentioned, that it's not a matter of stopping people from coming into the country, entirely. I just want to follow up on that, what you said, because that's what I'm hearing is we're not talking about legal immigration. I don't think there's, pardon me, a lot of people who are complaining about those who are coming in legally. We're talking specifically about illegal immigration.
Well, let's explain that, because on the 3rd of January, my second time down to Eagle Pass, there were 64 of us down there that day, and we actually had lunch with a lot of the sheriffs and everything like that. The sheriff of the county where these crossings were occurring said this: the people across the river, in the town right across the river, or the city right across the river, because it's bigger than actually Eagle Pass. He said, they're our friends. He said, they come across every day legally. We go over into their country legally, and we do business. They actually, many of them work on our side of the river, and it's not a problem. They're our friends. They said they hate this just as much as we do. But then they hear people say that these are migrants. They're not migrants. They're very offended by the term that they're illegal immigrants. They're illegal. And so this good relationship between our borders, and we feel it in our area, because I'm going to tell you, remember, the second largest industry in my district is agriculture. Well, a lot of those farms depend on workers that actually come from Mexico, or that migrate here legally, do all of that to work in the fields of our produce, whether it's peaches and apples, our specialty crops that are out there, in our dairy farms. But yeah, that's not a problem. That's what we've done for years, and it's a good thing. What is the problem is this massive. Now think about this: 160 countries that we know of have come across that southern border. We don't know how many gotaways. We don't know how many terrorists are in that group that are the gotaways. And not only terrorists, people who are criminals. We have several of the countries that admit they're sending us their criminals. Think about that. It's awful.
Good morning, Mike. Gabe here.
Hey, Gabe.
Has there been much discussion about some of the things that used to be on the table for immigration reform prior to the crisis, like making stiffer penalties for the hiring of illegals and some of the magnet policies, that were on the table back in the day?
Right. When I first came into Congress, we worked on a bill. Matter of fact, I think it's funny that, at any rate, my opponent says I vote for them to be given status here and everything like that, but I did not, and I do not. But at any rate, there was a bill that was called, well, there were actually two bills, Good Latch 1 and Good Latch 2. Each one of those bills, and this is the thing that we're looking at. One, to be able to make sure that employers use E-Verify. Okay, E-Verify is the computer system that makes sure that person that they're hiring is here legally. And so, yes, that is being pushed on a regular basis, but everything has been pushed to the background because we're dealing with this other issue. But the E-Verify, also the system in which they do it, and I'm a big believer that for those migrants that come here and receive their visa to work in the ag industry, the EA1 visas, that they actually should be able to, that should be coordinated through the Department of Agriculture, not through immigration. And that's because they know why they come here, how many months they need to stay, when they need to do the touchback. Okay, the touchback means, okay, you can come here for 2 months, but you have to go back home for a month. Or you can come here for 6 months, you got to go back home for 2 months. These are all the things that we're working on, and the answer is yes, we're working on that on a regular basis to make sure that there is a sensible way to do that. Not only is it ag industry, but I'm going to tell you, we actually use a lot of immigrants come here to help us in the departments of science. A lot of our scientific engineering companies use them. There's no problem. Come here, but we just want to make sure we monitor that. Every other country does that. We should be able to do that in a sensible way as well.
We are visiting with Congressman Mike Bost from Illinois, and because I need to ask this of everybody in Congress at this point, the Her report, the special counsel report, says that they're not going to press charges against Joe Biden for the classified documents case, in part because he would be presented to a jury as a sympathetic figure, an elderly man with memory problems. I want to frame that correctly. What's your assessment of Joe Biden's ability to do the job of president, whether we agree or disagree with his policies? How do you assess his fitness for office?
We've never seen a time like this. I don't think we ever have. Well, we did, but because of the ability to report what was going on, we had a president that was apparently disabled for some time, and the actual first lady was running the nation. But the sad thing is that whenever I read the report, I actually told my wife. I mean, honestly, as I was looking at it, I said, "Oh, it's a catch-22." I said, either he can stand trial or he can't be president. You can't have it both ways. He can be charged, stand trial, but under what was under that report, if he is in that condition, which I believe he is probably when we watch him on stage and everything like that, then he can't be president. So it's either one or the other. But yet the American people are sitting there going, okay, fine, it's just a report. No, and it's a double standard. It's a double standard because they didn't say he didn't commit the crime. They said a jury, the report just simply said, oh, well, the jury would probably let him off because he's confused. And look, all of us have that relative that either father or uncle or mother or grandmother or that is facing that time in life. Folks, we need a president that's on their game. I mean, we are facing, trust me when I tell you, we're facing some unbelievable times right now on the world stage. And we need a commander-in-chief who can make decisions in an instant and know why he's making those decisions. Not thinking about somebody that they think he visited with who died several years ago. This is a very bad situation.
So among many of the things that Biden has claimed about his presidency, the successes of his presidency, is Bidenomics. That Bidenomics is working. What do Bidenomics look like in your corner of the woods?
It doesn't, not just my corner of the woods. It's my entire district. People, their dollar buys them less. The fuel prices, even though it's funny because they're down compared to what they were when he first did the damage. Okay, it is one thing after another that inflation has caused. Look at the housing market. Each of those things are based on the fact that we made choices back during COVID. He made choices back during COVID that we did not, and even his financial advisors told him not to do. Bidenomics is tearing us apart. They can say, oh, the economy is getting better. But the reality is we all lived through how good it was prior to COVID, and it's not there now. And we need to make sure that the people that are out there working every day, they don't have to choose between the elderly getting their medicine or getting food, or making decisions on what a family can do when their children are going to school and what they have to pay for. Because what you're paying for, putting fuel in your tank to go to work, and what you're paying for to put food on the table is a whole lot different than what it was 4 years ago.
All right, Congressman Mike Bost, really appreciate you being on the program.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
And, of course, the websites, we can find you at the congressional website. Obviously running for a re-election. You've got yourself a pretty spicy primary that's happening right now. How do people get in touch, follow the campaign?
Mike Bost for Congress. Just look it up. It's right there.
All right. Great. Congressman, we'll talk to you again soon. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Appreciate it.
All right. 314-912-1019. I want to remind everybody, 805, you don't want to miss this conversation. Should we be rethinking Black History Month? We had the conversation about the Black National Anthem the other day. Mm-hmm. What about the entire Black History Month? Now, I'm pretty sure I know what the guest is going to say. He's a former state lawmaker in Florida. He is black, and I'm pretty sure I know what he's going to say. And I'm telling you, it's not going to sit well with everybody. But it's going to be really interesting.
I'm really excited to hear this.
We'll do that at 8:05 right here on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
We give you news, analysis, opinion, and more. Only on News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Hello,
this is Chad Clayman with Clayman Group, KLAMEN Group.com, where we buy houses direct and as-is condition with no middleman involved. I recently bought a house from somebody that was embarrassed to let me in the door. There was stuff all over the place, and the entire house smelled like smoke. However, we were definitely able to see the potential. We gave them a great cash offer that they were very happy with. So if you have a house that isn't in the best shape, maybe in some disrepair, we're interested in making you an as-is cash offer. Please reach out today, KLAMEN Group.com.
Mike Ferguson here. Retirement should be a time you can relax. No more stress from work. But there's one thing you can't forget about when retiring. That's your money. Do you have enough saved to fund your income for life and keep up with inflation? How will you claim your Social Security benefits? And what about long-term care? The ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel is here to help answer all of these questions. You can hear their latest views on the markets and investing during On the Money, hosted by Stifel financial advisors Bob Stockdale and Eric Robert, every Saturday morning at 9, right here on News Talk STL. They can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call 636-695-2650, 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Southern Armory, your hometown gun store. Come and be more than just a customer. Southern Armory, we carry the best guns, holsters, knives, magazines, ammunition, and even food storage. Special orders are welcome. Southern Armory, 1 mile east of 270 and 44, 9901 Watson Road, and southernarmory.com. That's southernarmory.com.
Whether you're purchasing your first firearm or adding to your collection at Southern Armory, you're more than a customer, you're part of the family. Follow Southern Armory on Facebook or at southernarmory.com.
Do you or a family member have health care coverage through Missouri Medicaid or Mo Health Net? The Family Support Division is required to make sure everyone still qualifies. You may need to take action to avoid losing coverage. Check your mail for notices from the Family Support Division and visit mydss.mo.gov/renew to create an account on the new benefit portal and to check renewal dates. That's mydss.mo.gov/renew. This message is sponsored by the Missouri Department of Social Services.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning brought to you by Window World. Simply the best for less. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com.
Hey, this is Rob Carter. Join me weeknights at 8 p.m. as I challenge our politicians, expose the political press, and analyze pop culture. It's the Rob Carter Show, weeknights from 8 to 10 p.m. here on News Talk STL. Now let's get back to the best men's league over 40 backstop in St. Louis. Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Okay, I guess you can get a college, and I'm using massive air quotes here, athletic scholarship for pretty much anything at this point.
Yeah.
One of the most ridiculous ones hit the news yesterday.
I don't know why they call them athletic scholarship. I mean, you can give somebody money for college for anything you want, right? But why call it an athletic scholarship?
Exactly. All right. By the way, the conversation about Black History Month, that's really going to tick some people off. I'm just predicting here, 8:05 is when that's going to happen. By the way, tomorrow, Friday, Flashback Friday.
Yeah, that's right.
I forgot to mention, hey, if there's an 80s song you want to hear for the bump music, let us know. Send us a note on social media, or you can email any of us. It's real easy. It's just our first name and then at newstalkstl.com. So Gabe at newstalkstl.com, Stel, Stel, or Mike. And if you're going to suggest something from the 80s for Flashback Friday, let me know.
Go for it.
Yes.
Should we give a plus or minus 2 year?
No. No.
A grace? No.
No.
So a song from 78 or
No.
92?
No.
92 it's okay.
No.
Has to have an 8 in it.
That's right.
Okay.
No.
All right.
I'm putting my foot down.
Somebody's got to put their foot down.
That's right. Okay. I saw this, and this is out of Colorado. 2 high school kids getting ready to go to college. They are going to, let's see here, Division I school, which is, let's see here, from Thunder Ridge High School in Denver. They have signed with Winthrop University in South Carolina the first ever known athletic scholarships to play cornhole.
See, this is. Here's another unpopular opinion. I don't think golf should count as an athletic sport. But the thing is, it in my head, it fits that category of it's almost like a leisurely, slightly physical activity. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like the type of thing that the over 80s can do.
Okay, check this out. Check this out. Oh, got it? Sorry, I guess should have given you a warning here. All right, here we go.
I'm shocked. I mean, as everybody is, it's crazy. It's groundbreaking. It's new. It's making history.
I never could have thought that me playing just a fun side hustle would lead to college or going to a national level and playing.
This is something that is now going to give kids an opportunity to get scholarships, potential full rides eventually.
And there are so many kids that want to make this their career, and I think this is the gateway to make that happen.
No, you do not make cornhole your career.
No.
Get a job.
No, gosh, no. Oh.
That was Jackson with an X and Gavin, and then their high school cornhole coach. Then again, they give scholarships to play video games now, too.
That's true.
Oh, God.
Hi, I'm Jen Wallner.
And I'm Rodney Wallner with the Wallner Home Selling Team at Berkshire Hathaway.
Hey, Rodney, how do you sell your home for top dollar?
That's easy. Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
What if I want a flexible commission rate?
Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
When's the best time to sell your home?
Right now. Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
For all your real estate needs, call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
That's 314-810-SOLD.
Are you a natural leader driven by the desire to make a lasting impact? Is your deepest calling to be an elected official making a real difference? Now, picture yourself with the power to shape the future in St. Louis City. St. Louis needs your leadership now more than ever. The urgency is real. The Republican Party, City of St. Louis can help you file, be your guiding force, and support you during the campaign. Contact stlouisrepublicans.com and step into your destiny.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNVS Bowling Green.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Investigators are questioning 3 individuals detained following yesterday's deadly mass shooting at the Kansas City Super Bowl victory celebration. One person, a mother of 2, was killed. 21 other people, including at least 8 children, were injured. Nothing on a motive. He is itching to get a Trump trial underway before the election.
Special counsel Jack Smith is urging the Supreme Court to let former President Donald Trump's 2020 election interference case proceed to trial without further delay. Prosecutors were responding to a Trump team request from earlier in the week, asking for a continued pause in the case as the court considers whether to take up the question of whether Trump is immune from prosecution for official acts while in the White House. 2 lower courts have overwhelmingly rejected that position. Smith asked that if the Supreme Court does want to take the case, that they hear arguments in March and issue a final ruling by late June. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
Fulton County District Attorney Fonnie Willis due to testify at a court hearing today stemming from the Trump Georgia election interference case. Willis, the subject of misconduct allegations, could be removed from the case. Well, there's another moon race underway, this one among a couple of American businesses.
Falcon 9 has successfully lifted off from Pad 39A at Kennedy Space Center, carrying the IM-1 payload.
The SpaceX Falcon rocket blasting off in the wee hours of the morning, launching a month after a rival's lunar lander missed its mark. A quick 1-week trip that should result in a touchdown attempt next week. Retail sales, considered a key economic barometer, fell 0.8% last month, the drop following a spending splurge over the holidays. On Wall Street, Dow futures up 61 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
We thank the pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain. That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. Relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success story.
This is Dennis Prager, and now a truly exciting new benefit. My monthly online video get-together for Pragertopia Plus members only. For an hour each month, get an exclusive chance to ask me anything. I'll be answering your questions. I've never done this. Submit your questions for me at Pragertopia.com. This is our chance to connect like never before. Go to Pragertopia.com or click the banner.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
We had a few very early morning showers move through, even some thunder in spots, but that's in the rearview mirror now. So as we move ahead, breezy northwest winds kick in behind a cold front. Some morning clouds making way for sunshine in the midday and afternoon, up to about 54 this afternoon. Increasing cloudiness tonight, but dry, right around the freezing mark when you wake up Friday. And friends, here comes some snow. Anywhere from a dusting to as much as 3 inches in spots from tomorrow morning into the afternoon. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Katie here, and I'd like to talk to you guys about Michaels Flooring Outlet. You could gain peace of mind with Michaels Flooring Outlet for your flooring and carpet installation needs. Their team of experts ensures that the job is done right the first time, providing you with attentive and a personalized service. Just like my parents, you can trust them to replace your old carpet with beautiful hardwood flooring. Visit one of their 3 locations in Dardenne Prairie, St. Peters, or Creve Coeur, or check them out at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Mike Ferguson.
We the people.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
It's not rocket science. Rocket science.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up. Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
February is, of course, Black History Month, and when you look across the ideological or the political spectrum, there's a variety of relationships with Black History Month, whether you're conservative or liberal, and it really shouldn't be that way. So how do we look at Black History Month and what it actually should be, if anything, in today's United States? I'm Mike Ferguson. I am now joined by a former Florida State Representative Mike Hill, who is now a Project 21 ambassador. Project 21, of course, nation's largest network of Black conservatives. And Mike, appreciate you being on the program here. One of the things that caught my eye in the sort of the statement press release that P21 sent out is you said, as Black History Month has devolved into Black Grievances Month, it's lost its appeal for many Americans. And I know there's a lot of people who agree with you on that, but let me start with, what do you mean by that? And then we can maybe get to where should the conversation be, because it's not obviously in that place right now.
Yes. Mike, Black History Month was started, the idea or concept, in 1915 by Carter Woodson, who wanted to educate Black Americans on achievements of Blacks in the past. And so that was the initial idea, was for it to let Black Americans know their history, their history that contributed to this country. But starting probably in the 1960s, it has devolved now into a grievance movement. Oh, by the way, Black History Month used to be only Black History Week. It wasn't until, again, in the 60s, it was turned into Black History Month. And then in 1976, Gerald Ford was the first president to commemorate Black History Month, and every president has done it since then. And they better, if they don't want to fall under the wrath of those on the left. So, but what it has devolved into is a Black Grievance Month. And what it seems to have become is this is a month of when white America is supposed to perform their indulgences for the forgiveness of their sins, whether you committed them or not, of the sins that this nation had from the times of slavery. They used that to paint the entire nation, that period we had here in America, which was a horrible period of Africans being used as slaves here in America. By the way, they weren't the only ones. So were the Irish, so were the Native Americans, and so were the Chinese. But we focus on African slave trade because it was most prominent. It was the largest. But now we're finding that that many Blacks today use that. Let me say that differently. Blacks on the left will use that as a way to demand reparations. You must perform your indulgences as a remittance of your sins that you have done in the past. And I believe that a lot of America is just tired of it. You know, we see what has happened with the Black Lives Matter movement, where all that was for a few people at the top who got very wealthy, and they were Marxists, admitted it, that they were Marxists, became very wealthy, did not give a dime to help any communities. It only helped themselves. And what was that again? That was a lot of corporate America, a lot of white America, a lot of leftist Democrats who were saying, you must pay. You must pay something for your sins. You must perform your indulgences to pay for the sins of the past. And so they gave a ton of money, millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars to the Black Lives Matter movement. And we're seeing it the same with this diversity, equity, and inclusion, that for some reason, it's never going to be enough. It's never going to be enough. So we demand, as part of your indulgences, that you hire people, whether they're qualified or not. That doesn't matter. Look at the color of their skin and fill your quotas and hire people to certain jobs, certain positions, even a Supreme Court justice. And it is never going to be enough because they're going to demand that white America continues to perform their indulgences for the sins of the past.
We are visiting with Mike Hill from Project 21, the nation's largest network of Black conservatives and a former Florida state representative. Mike, is there a way that we could balance out the terrible parts of our history, slavery, Jim Crow, redlining, all of those things, with all of the accomplishments of Black Americans over the history of our country? Is there a way to do both of those in a manner that is constructive and in a manner that is not politically or ideologically or culturally divisive?
Yes. And I would say the way to do that is to stop this divisive movement of separating people based on their ideology and skin color. Instead of forming these different groups, let's unite as unique individuals. Each of us has our own abilities, our own dreams, our own things that we want to aspire to. Focus on that as an individual, not as these groups that they put you into this group and now you belong to that group. No, I don't. I'm an individual who performs each day how I expect to perform, or how those around me, I own a small business, and so how my customers expect me to perform so that you can continue to progress. It's an individual thing, not putting people in these different groups, which divides America instead of uniting us. We are a United States, one nation under God.
So from 2024 and beyond, what would, in your opinion, then be the ideal role of Black History Month and the focus on Black history in America, if there is to be one in the country? Because I imagine there's probably a lot of people listening right now saying, man, I'm not sure this guy even wants to see Black History Month anymore. What's the right place for it to have a good, constructive conversation, whether you're liberal or conservative or anything else?
Well, let me make myself clear. I know it won't happen, but what I think would be best is to abolish Black History Month. Just get rid of it. If you want to learn Black history, then study it. If you want to know what has happened in the past, then study history. We don't need a month now where we're beat over the head by it. And we have this diversity, equity, and inclusion, which has tainted the whole concept of Black History Month because they have grouped it together with the sexual aberrants in the LGBTQ community. That DEI includes them also. So it seems that all of it's being grouped together when instead, if we look at people as individuals. So yes, I would say get rid of Black History Month, get rid of Pride Month. Good grief. What is that all about? Get rid of Pride Month, abolish that stupid holiday that Joe Biden put together a year or two ago, Juneteenth. Get rid of that. Instead, let's just be Americans celebrating this great nation together.
Okay, I've got a minute or so left. Former Florida State Representative Mike Hill, outside of the politics of it, coach us then on what's the right way to have kind of that heart-to-heart conversation with people. I mean, you're Black, I'm white, and we have a conversation about this. Somebody says, "Oh, I just wish we could do more with Black History Month." What should that conversation look like just on an individual heart-to-heart basis in order to improve things from a grassroots level on up?
Well, this is how we do it, Mike. Each person individually that you come in contact with, you treat them with dignity and respect that is due them for two reasons. Why? Number one, they are made in the image of God and should be treated with dignity and respect until they prove to you why they shouldn't be. And number two, that's how every person wants to be treated, pure and simple, with dignity and respect. And that's how we should treat each other as individuals, not break each other into groups based on our skin color or based on some ideology where we don't agree. Instead, look at each person individually.
All right, Mike, and people want to be in touch with you, social media, website. What's the best way to do it?
They should go to mikehillconservative@gmail.com.
All right. And of course, you can look you up at Project 21 as well. Mike, really appreciate the conversation. It's going to give a lot of people something to think about.
Well, Mike, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Okay, I'm pretty sure that conversation just raised a few eyebrows. What do you think? 314-912-1019. That's a former state representative, Mike Hill out of Florida. And wow, that is not what you hear every day. Somebody to say just completely abolish it. Is he right? Is he wrong? Should we fix what has gone wrong with Black History Month? Or is it fine the way it is and we just need to use it in a better, more constructive way? You tell me. 314-912-1019. This is 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Don't try to make me stop. No inspiration. You have a soul so dark it is no more.
Follow us on Rumble at News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Stop right now. I have had enough of this. Turn my eyes to your indifference. Stop right now before you blow us all away. Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up.
The wait is over. Capriati's is now open. Taste extraordinary with our one-of-a-kind sandwiches, like our award-winning Bobby with hand-pulled butterball turkey and stuffing, our roast beef with hand-sliced American Wagyu beef from Snake River Farms, or our crowd-favorite classic cheesesteaks with your choice of grilled steak or chicken. No matter which you choose, you'll always get Capriati's high-quality ingredients. Capriati's. Eat extraordinary. Order now at capriatis.com or on the app.
On Manchester at McKnight in Rock Hill.
Hi, Sean Long for STL Fenceworks. STL Fenceworks is proud and excited to install American-made aluminum and vinyl fence products, as well as American-made decking. For instance, STL Fenceworks has teamed up with Jareth Manufacturing. Jareth invented the aluminum fence industry over 50 years ago. The Jareth product is wholly sourced and manufactured in the U.S., and STL Fenceworks is the third largest Jareth customer in the world. STL Fenceworks is vinyl fencing also, and not just white. We partner with National Vinyl Products to provide you with tan, clay, gray, and variegated wood grain vinyl fence products too, all made in the U.S. Not to be forgotten, STL Fenceworks is maintenance-free decking. STL Fenceworks is the #1 distributor of Wolf Cellular PVC in the Midwest, proudly manufactured in the U.S. and voted #1 maintenance-free decking product in the United States. Let STL Fenceworks make your outdoor space magical. Visit stlfenceworks.com today and learn how we can make your backyard dreams into a reality. At STL Fenceworks, your satisfaction is our passion.
The Vic Porcelli Show. The bee or not the bee?
According to a study, female frogs fake their deaths to avoid having sex.
But I don't think it was the bee. I'm going to say not the bee.
That's not the bee. That's actually true. Female frogs, just like human women, fake their own deaths just to avoid having sex.
Vic Porcelli, live and local weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Hello, America. It's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you don't have Consumer Cellular yet, now is the perfect time to switch and save. For a limited time, new customers can get wireless service for as low as $15 a month for your first year. Yep, the same exact nationwide coverage as the leading carriers for $15 a month for an entire year. What are you waiting for? Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com and use code RADIO15.
See consumercellular.com/firstyear15 for promotional details.
My friend and I are taking a trip to Mexico this year, but neither of us speak Spanish. So we downloaded Babbel and started learning Spanish fast.
Want to start getting conversational in another language? In as little as 3 weeks, Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons were designed by language experts to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's BABBEL.com.
And then the media.
101.9 and 94.1.
They lying about what's going on in America. They lying about it.
News Talk STL.
Hey everyone, this is State Senator Nick Schroer. I am the host of Stand and Fight every Sunday night. Tune in to us at 8 p.m. Right now, let's hear more of Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show here on News Talk STL.
Hey, Gabe, guess what? I'm going to you first on this conversation
No
here in just a second. All right.
Okay.
By the way, 8:35, we're going to bring you what updates that we can. I do have a little bit of an update, but the update is basically that there's no update. But the mayor of Kansas City went on a radio show of one of my friends in Kansas City, so I'll tell you a little bit about what we do know regarding the tragedy. I mean, basically, it's sorting through the chaos and the tears in Kansas City for the mass shooting that happened. One person dead, 22 people at last count who were shot and injured. 9 of those are children. All of this happened at the conclusion of the Kansas City Chiefs World Championship rally party that they had at Union Station. So 8:35 will bring you up to date on that. All right, so Mike Hill from Project 21, and Gabe, for those who aren't familiar with Project 21, I mean, if they listen to this station, they probably are.
Yeah.
Well, the nation's largest network of black conservatives, and they put together a pretty impressive list of high-profile conservatives from around the country, including, in this case, Mike Hill is a former state representative. Matter of fact, Chris Arps is part of Project 21 as well. And so he comes on and he says, and I got to tell you, when he said we need to just get rid of Black History Month and do Juneteenth while you're at it, my jaw kind of hit the floor. I'm like, whoa, I did not expect that. Okay, so let's start with Black History Month.
Yeah.
He says, get rid of it, don't need it, just tell the entire American history when you're talking about history, just make it American history. What's your take on that?
Totally agree. Yeah, I think, and I might have said this before. I'm not sure you were on with me, but that the idea of incorporating Black history into the public education system, at the very least, I'll give it that it had a solidly a positive intention, right? And I think it did some positive good in that it decided to sort of highlight some of these periods in history, these individuals in history who had an outsized impact, and who overcame a tremendous amount of negative forces against them to accomplish great things in America. And those stories, I think, needed to be told. They needed to be included in the wider range of history. Now, concentrating them all in 1 month, I suppose at one time was a useful method by which to do that. Because, maybe they weren't in this traditional set of history books. You had to go to some alternative source. But this gave teachers an excuse like, okay, for Black History Month, I need to purchase this thing. Mm-hmm. Maybe that was kind of the edifice that was required to build that. But the thing is, I think of a lot of the structures that were built up in the civil rights era as scaffolding for kind of updating America, right? You build these things around America so you can do the work that you need to do. But the thing about scaffolding is it always has to come down eventually. Scaffolding is not permanent structure. You don't leave the scaffolding up in front of the building after you've redone the face, right? So Black History Month, I think it's outlived its usefulness. And I think he's right. If you've looked at social media at all, especially these kids who've never experienced any sort of, real racism or real actual institutionalized oppression or anything like that, but the grievance children who've been trained by the Marxists in our public education system, they do look at Black History Month specifically as a grievance month. It's like, this is the month you white people have to, bow down. This is the month where you white people have to recognize us and all the great things that we, so it very much is a wag the finger sort of thing for these younger generations. They don't really get the true purpose of it.
Was that inevitable that was going to happen with Black History Month? I mean, could we have done this in a way that kept it about history and about progress and about improvement? Because, there's no question that it gets used politically, or cultural as a cultural weapon, but not everybody does that. Some people, I think, have the best of intentions. Was it inevitable that it was going to end up this way?
I think so, because eventually, like you said, if you leave that temporary structure up and pretend it's permanent, well, now you're going to treat it as though it's permanent. You're going to start putting planters on top of the you know what I mean, the scaffolding. Does that look good? No, it looks crappy. It's like you're ruining what we were trying to accomplish by doing this. So eventually, because it is necessarily a separate thing, now the separateness becomes the reality, as opposed to, hey, look at
the focal point.
The focal point, exactly. So you bring in this separate thing. It's like, okay, now we need to incorporate it. Now we need to bake it into the melting pot, right? You put a new ingredient into the melting pot. It doesn't just sit there as all by itself. It starts incorporating itself into the stew, right? So major figures of Black history in history.
So here's what somebody is saying out there right now. That conservative station is racist because they're saying we should talk about whether or not to get rid of Black History Month. Which, by the way, nobody in this room believes that anybody's going to delete Black History Month. I mean,
it's probably not going to happen.
It's going to be on the calendar.
Sure.
But there's somebody's like just the thought, just the idea, just entertaining the discussion of let's get rid of Black History Month. And just give history its due. That's somebody out there is saying you guys are racist.
Yeah, that's somebody stupid. I'm tired of entertaining people's stupidity and their deliberately misreading people's statements, deliberately misunderstanding intentions, and completely ignoring whatever statements are kind of coming out. When I say get rid of Black History Month and incorporate it into regular history, you can't separate the last part of my statement from the first part. They're together. So I'm not saying let's never talk about Booker T. Washington. I'm saying talk about Booker T. Washington in the period of time and in the subject matter in which he is most relevant.
Because when you talk about American history, and guys jump in with this one, a reaction to this. Booker T. Washington, Frederick Douglass.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you obviously Martin Luther King. I mean,
Right.
you look at all of these figures in history. You're not telling the complete story of American history without them.
Right.
Not because they're black, although the fact that they were black makes a huge difference. Benjamin Banneker. I mean, you could go down the line of everything. I mean, music, Dizzy Gillespie. I mean, you can go. I mean, sports. I mean, obviously Jackie Robinson, Moses Fleetwood Walker. You can just go down and down the line. But if you're going to tell the entire story of history, you include them not just because they're black, but the fact that they were black at that time does matter.
It's relevant to the discussion of them.
It is absolutely relevant to the discussion as well, and to what we're learning. And so it can be done, but for some reason, there's a lot of reasons that it hasn't been done right. And I think that's where a lot of people were saying that's why we need something like a Black History Month.
Yeah, I think one thing that that was brought up by Mike Hill, there was the idea of recognizing individuals. Like, let's talk about individuals, and that's the thing about history and historical figures. We talk about those people because they are unique individuals, because they are particularly interesting and effective and impactful individuals. And one of the things that is related to their individual is their personal story and the time period in which they kind of came to the scene. So Jackie Robinson, becoming a major figure in baseball is relevant at that time because of the prejudice, because he's a first, right? All of that stuff is relevant to him as an individual in that situation.
One of my friends in Kansas City, Bob Kendrick, who runs the Negro League Baseball Museum, he's told me, I don't know how many times, he has said Jackie Robinson breaking the color barrier in Major League Baseball, he feels was one of the doors that opened the civil rights movement into America.
Yeah.
He really thinks there's a direct connection there. I think he makes a good point. Okay, a couple minutes left here. Mike Hill then out of nowhere says, and get rid of Juneteenth while you're at it.
And that's where we differ.
Okay, I was going to say, I disagree with him on that. I think Juneteenth is a perfectly valid reason to have an observance, have a holiday in America, because we don't really have a clear specific date, for the end of slavery, but that's as close one, and that kind of massive change in the country for the better is something I would hope everybody is willing to say, yeah, there's something to celebrate there. So when he said that, I'm like, I didn't have time really to go into that in depth because the topic was Black History Month, but I was really curious what you think, whether it's the exact same argument. I have absolutely no objection whatsoever to Juneteenth, and I think Juneteenth is something that can be uniting as well. Now, I think a lot of people treat it the same way as other things like Black History Month, but I disagree with him on Juneteenth.
It's similar to the lift every voice and sing argument. It basically is that hey, the Democrats are trying to weaponize something against us that we can easily turn back on them.
Yeah.
Because what is Juneteenth? Let's celebrate the final victory of the Republican president over the Democrat slavery establishment. Yeah, remember that time we made you guys cry because you had to give up your slaves? Let's have a barbecue about it.
Am I allowed to laugh at that?
Yes.
'Cause I'm white. Am I allowed to laugh at that?
No, because you weren't one of those guys. It's like, let's have a barbecue and we can let you cry in your beer. Here, have a Budweiser. So
have a Bud Light. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So you and I see that because when he said Juneteenth, I was like, oh, I did not see that coming.
And I think he's again reacting, I think, to the way in which it was rolled out, the way the sort of divisive weaponization that we keep seeing from the left, where they keep rolling this stuff out to say, let's poke at the Republicans, let's poke at the conservatives. Like, but we need to do a little better in that regard, and turning that stuff back on them, because I love to celebrate Juneteenth as a essentially exclusively Republican holiday.
There you go.
Right?
There you go. All right. A lot of comments on this on Rumble. I'm looking at that. Man, thank you, everybody. And, of course, other figures. Lunch Lady reminds us, saying, hey, Harriet Tubman. Yep, absolutely. Without a question there. Yeah. All right. 314-912-1019. We'll bring you up to date with what we know and is new in the situation, in the tragedy in Kansas City, right here on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and newstalkstl.com.
Crazy days gone by. No one talks about the times you cried.
up, St. Louis? It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
We had a few very early morning showers move through, even some thunder in spots, but that's in the rearview mirror now. So as we move ahead, breezy northwest winds kick in behind a cold front. Some morning clouds making way for sunshine in the midday and afternoon, up to about 54 this afternoon. Increasing cloudiness tonight, but dry, right around the freezing mark when you wake up Friday. And friends, here comes some snow. Anywhere from a dusting to as much as 3 inches in spots from tomorrow morning into the afternoon. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
Fox News commentary.
The shooter who opened fire in Joel Osteen's Lakewood Church had a history of anti-Semitic writings and carried a gun with a Palestine sticker on it. So expect this story to disappear quickly, given it doesn't fit the demographic or narrative the mainstream media loves to promote. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
Success. It's discipline, it's teamwork, it's the drive and confidence and passion inside of us that comes before all recognition. It's the best of each of us made better by the best in all of us. It's what Stifel has been doing for over 130 years. And it's why Stifel is one of the fastest growing global wealth management and investment banking firms in the industry. Stifel, where success meets success. Find a financial advisor at stifel.com. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Left would have you believe all violent assailants in the USA are white, straight, conservative males. Well, turns out that false trend is becoming more and more misleading. Police say the shooter who stormed the Texas church was a biological woman who sometimes identified as a man. You won't be shocked to hear that police say the woman had a history of mental illness. Maybe that explains why she brought her 7-year-old son on her rampage. But you'll be shocked to hear that this person had several aliases and a lengthy rap sheet that includes forgery and assaulting a police officer. Imagine that. So not a straight, white, Christian, Trump, mega supporting male, so I guess you can expect this story to be buried in 3, 2, 1 by the mainstream media. Doesn't fit the demographic, doesn't fit the narrative. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show Tommy Lahren is Fearless at Outkick.com.
The Herzog Foundation is the vision of its founder, Stanley Herzog, and it exists to promote and accelerate the development of quality Christ-centered K-12 education.
Hi, this is Daryl Jones, president of the Herzog Foundation. Our primary goal is to advance Christian education so that families and culture flourish. The legacy of Stan's business career centers around making national transit ecosystems accessible and sustainable. Likewise, the legacy of Stan's philanthropy centers around making the ecosystems of Christian education more accessible and sustainable for families across the nation. Visit HerzogFoundation.com to learn more about our programs, including trainings, scholarships, conferences, news, and our podcast, Making the Leap.
Visit HerzogFoundation.com to learn more and sign up for The Lion, an initiative of the Herzog Foundation that carries articles covering a wide range of issues facing American families and culture. HerzogFoundation.com.
The Freedom Principle and News Talk STL invite you to a special St. Louis City Town Hall, Thursday, February 22nd at the St. Louis Police Officers Association on Hampton Avenue. Join moderator Tim Jones and expert panelists for a crucial discussion, building a better, safer St. Louis City. Learn what legislators are doing in Jefferson City to protect and build a safer community for all citizens. The St. Louis City Town Hall is free and open to the public. For more information, visit freedomprincipalmo.org.
Free speech is alive and well in America.
Thanks for taking my call.
Right here.
You know what's going on?
Have a great awakening.
You see through the smoke screen.
It's cool to be woke.
News Talk STL.
Until it's not.
News, analysis, opinion.
Hey there, Tim Jones here. Make sure you join me and my buddy Chris Arps this afternoon from 4 until 6 p.m. right here on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL. Right now, let's get back to more of Mike Ferguson in the morning.
You see it all around.
Okay, about an hour ago, the mayor of Kansas City, Quentin Lucas, went on the air with a friend of mine who does the morning show in Kansas City named Pete Mundo. And he says that there will not be a press conference today regarding the 22 people who were shot and injured and the one person who was shot and killed in Kansas City, because the reason, he says, because they're not going to name the suspects today. Basically, they want to give the district attorney, Jean Peters Baker in this case, they want to give her plenty of time and bandwidth to get the charges and the filing done without pressure, without being rushed into it.
Okay.
So, because we in the public, we want more information.
Oh, sure.
We
yeah.
want it now. We want to know who is it, when are you going, which prisoner are you going to throw them into, and throw away the key, that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
And so Quentin Lucas just said about an hour ago that that information is coming, but it's likely not going to be today. We do know that there are 3 people under arrest who are going to be charged.
Okay. That's important to know.
Yeah.
Because here's one of the things I think that's kind of bubbling under the surface of this story is the consternation that we all have with the way our metropolitan areas have been dealing with crime.
Well, and that's the thing, is because we warn over and over and over and over again when you say defund the police, and there has been a defund the police movement in Kansas City. There were Black Lives Matter and Antifa rioters in Kansas City that were specifically anti-police.
Right.
We see those things happening there like they're happening here. And so the reason that I'm bringing that up, I'm not talking about Kansas City, I'm talking about this is a warning for St. Louis, because the same warnings that were given there are the same warnings we're giving here. And the police were all over this event. I mean, there were hundreds of law enforcement officers. It was all hands on deck. There were officers from multiple jurisdictions and also probably from the Kansas side, in addition to the Missouri side. So there were dozens, if not 100 or more officers who were rushing to the scene.
Yeah.
Because that's what they do. But you also had upwards of nearly 1 million people who were at this event. And that's why I say that it is miraculous that there weren't more people hurt. The weapon, one of the weapons that is seen on video being taken away from one of the suspects, because one of the suspects was running with his gun, was tackled by some of the Chief fans and held down. And then once that gun was knocked out of his possession, there was a woman who grabbed it and took it and carried it away from him. And I don't know what, it was the camera was too far away. I couldn't tell exactly what type of gun it is, but it was not a typical gun.
Right.
I mean, it probably was a fully automatic something or other. And I don't know. I mean, it almost looked like an Uzi, but I'm sure it was not an Uzi, but it sure had that kind of look, or just had a whole lot of accessories on it. But when you look at the policies, and I'm trying to stay above the politics of this right now. Cori Bush is already throwing, she's already saying it's because of Republicans and the NRA. And,
and there are loose gun laws in Missouri.
Right.
Kind of
you've got the politicians already getting in that. There's going to be a time to do that. Maybe even tomorrow, maybe Monday. I don't know. But I don't think it's right now.
Sure.
They haven't cleaned up the blood off the pavement yet.
Right.
In Kansas City. And so the policies, though, the ones where you tell criminals, we're more worried about coddling you than we are in prosecuting and imprisoning you. That leads to these outcomes.
It breeds boldness in that class of people.
I mean, you mentioned, so that's a good word, the boldness. You're talking about a gunfight, which every symptom of this looks like gang warfare. Because there was a shootout literally with 1 million people in broad daylight. That tells me that you've got criminals who don't care if they're seen, don't care if they're identified, and clearly don't care who else they hurt. We talked to Daryl Jones from the Herzog Foundation earlier. I thought he made a really interesting observation to say this is part of the cultural rot when you have a society that just simply doesn't respect the lives of other human beings.
Yeah.
And so whatever their beef is, I have no idea, no clue. Maybe someday we'll know, maybe we won't. But whatever that conflict is, that they was willing to shoot at each other, take one woman's innocent life, injure 22 other people, 9 of them children. Whatever that was, they decided was more important than the hundreds of thousands of people right there with them. And I'm sure you could easily say thousands within range of the bullets.
Yeah, one of the things that Daryl brought up when we were talking to Daryl is the heart issue. There's a heart issue, going on right now. These people are they've degraded themselves. They've given themselves over to their baser instincts. Their the desire for power or respect. Whatever that kind of means.
Yeah, and that means fear.
It means fear. It
Yeah.
does. It does mean fear among themselves. And it's an expression of if there is a place in our society for calling something toxically masculine, that would kind of be where it is, because it's the worst expression of masculinity that is there, because they don't have real examples of masculinity in their lives. I can almost guarantee you these guys don't have present or good fathers.
And so, I mean, are we stereotyping by saying that?
Yes.
Okay.
Some stereotypes are real. And I'll say it that way. If you took a poll in any prison, upwards of 80% of them are either from fatherless homes or homes with an abusive father.
Okay. Looks like we've got a number of people have some thoughts on this. Let's start with Andre. Hey, Andre, you're on News Talk STL.
I just want to say that I think the odds of this coming out as being something gang-related and all these people who are involved with it not legally allowed to even have a firearm are pretty high.
Yeah.
From that video, you're close. I think it was more of a MAC-10 variant, which the old forms of that, like the 70s, I think it was 70s and 80s, if they made a lot of them, they're very easy to modify to be fully automatic because they're an open bolt system.
Yeah.
So you're probably right on that.
Yeah.
And those are pretty common in your urban areas.
Gang circles.
Gang warfare.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. You're right.
So.
Yep.
Just wanted to say that.
Hey, Andre, appreciate you being part of the show, man. Thank you so much.
As a kid from the hood in New York, I can co-sign that. I saw a lot of MAC-10s back in the 80s and 90s.
And that was, looking at that video, I'm like, okay, now that he says that, yep, that could be it. Maybe it was a Mac. Again, it looked like it was one of the news helicopter videos. And so it was so grainy that you could just see an outline, but a MAC-10 would match. Like I said, I looked at him like, it looks like a freaking
Is that Uzi? Yeah.
But I know it's not. I know it couldn't be an Uzi.
Yeah, those things are still circulating around.
Yeah, but Max, that's true. Yeah.
There was another thing that Daryl commented on, and he said that there's lack of a moral compass.
Yep, that's it.
And boy, that hit the nail right on the head.
Yeah.
Yeah,
hit the nail on the head.
nail on the head. Yeah. No, back in the day, one of the things that my dad talked about, and he wasn't really explicit about this, but I've come to understand is that a boy needs a father in order to learn how to one, to regulate his emotions, and two, how to direct his aggression, because the male comes with aggression. That's part of the package. It's not a bug. It's not a defect. It's part of the programming. And the thing is, properly directed male aggression is a boon to all of society. You have properly directed male aggression against the type that the guy who jumped on the shooter. That's properly directed male aggression. When somebody threatens America, you want people who are full of properly directed male aggression. When you have somebody who's really, really going after it at work, that is properly directed male aggression, because they're saying, I need to provide for my family. I want my wife and my children to have a great life. I want to contribute to society. I want to be useful to everybody around me. That's properly directed male aggression. If you don't have a dad around, you don't have a seriously put together male figure to show you what that looks like and to help you regulate it as a child, you're just a wild animal, essentially. And that's kind of what you get in these gang cultures. They try to look for male influence. They try to look for that male validation they would otherwise get, and they look for it among each other, and they're all undirected. So you've got this, and it's just directed. It's badly directed male aggression against each other.
I'm sorry. Good.
I was just going to piggyback on that. We have the nuclear family being destroyed, and I listened to a discussion a couple of days ago, oddly enough, looking at statistics from other nations like Germany, France, Spain, etc., where family structures only had about 4% of them were missing a male figurehead, 4 to 6%. In the U.S., it was 22%. My goodness, that's a huge difference.
What's really weird is I'm surprised it's only 22%.
I was kind of too.
I'm not joking. I'm actually, I thought it was going to be higher than that, to be real honest.
In some of those countries, it's growing. That's part of the decline of Europe that we're seeing is because of the increase in the fatherless home.
Yeah. By the way, and I can tell you because I'm seeing some of the pictures showing up on social media. I've seen pictures of 2 of the 3 suspects. Both of them are young black males. And so what you're starting to see is, this is the suspect. I guess this story is going to go away real fast. No, it's not.
Not this one.
It's not.
It's
not going to go away. Now, how the media, how people want to try to spin it and direct it away from the core issue to political, I don't know. But I think that we're doing a disservice to everybody not just in Kansas City, not just in this entire, I guess, extended marketplace of Chiefs fans, which includes St. Louis, but also as a warning to other cities, including St. Louis. Remember, statistically speaking, per capita, St. Louis is more violent than Kansas City.
Yeah.
We're one of the most violent per capita cities in the entire United States. And so when you see something like this and the leaders suddenly say, well, we need more programs, we need gun control, it's a political thing. And when they do that, I think it is bad intentions. I think it is intellectually dishonest. And we can argue the ideas, but the warning here is that people's lives are at stake. Kansas City right now is already saying, geez, we just announced that we want to build a baseball stadium for the Royals in downtown Kansas City. And then this happens. And what are we talking about in St. Louis? Man, I don't really want to go downtown at night.
Right.
That's been going around for years. I don't want to go to, if there's a game, I'll go to a day game.
Right.
And that's not just me saying that. I mean, that's something I don't want to get on the Metro.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about looking forward to the Battlehawks coming back to the Dome, right? Well, their opening home game is a night game. That I was specifically looking. I was like, you know what? I would love to be there for the opener, and I saw that it was a night game. I was like, okay, I'm out.
And then 3 of the 5 home games are day games.
Yeah, all the rest of the
the 4 of the 5.
All the rest of them are day games.
Yeah, so
I think the latest you'll have is like a 3 o'clock afternoon. It's like you might get out and it's starting to go down, but it'll still be light outside.
It's but in June
or
May or June.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, daylight till 8 o'clock.
Yeah, that's right. You're right.
So yeah, I mean, but these are the warnings that St. Louis and every other city need to look at and say what we're doing isn't working. And you've got people like us, the conservative side, jumping up and down, begging to become part of the conversation, saying we have solutions to offer that should at least be discussed, and we're shut out because they don't like our politics.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. All right, 314-912-1019. This is 1019-941, number 1 for live and local conservative talk.
Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
You see it all around you. Good loving gone bad. And usually it's too late when you realize what you had. And my mind goes back to a girl I met years ago who told me just hold on loosely.
With Old Man Winter blowing into the heartland, let me tell you, Hanson's Tree Service is here to help. Tim Jones here for Hanson's Tree Service. Look them up 24/7 at hansonstree.com. Do you have any tree problems at your home or your business? Overhanging branches? Have Hanson's and the gang take them down professionally so Old Man Winter doesn't. What about organic mulch? Hanson's Tree has got that in bulk. It'll save you in price and time. Incredibly convenient. Protect all those assets you've got in the ground and have Hanson's take care of everything above the ground for you as well. Get them out to your homestead or your business right now. hansonstree.com. That's hansonstree.com.
Hey, Josh Hawley here. Come join me in Kansas City for Missouri State Lincoln Days on February 16th and 17th. It's going to be an amazing time. Amazing speakers. My family and I are going to be there. We want you to be there too as we talk about the fight to save our country. Don't wait. Get your tickets right now at mogop.org. I'm Josh Hawley, and I look forward to seeing you there.
Learn more and get tickets at mogop.org.
Paid for by the Missouri Republican Party. Jennifer Finch, Treasurer. In the fast-paced world of digital marketing, making connections is a challenge for any business. But what if we told you there is a place where connections aren't just made, they're grown? Meet 2060 Digital, your premier Google partner and top-tier digital agency. We don't just follow trends, we set them. At 2060 Digital, we're not just another agency, we're your strategic partner. We dive deep into your challenges and develop solutions that drive measurable outcomes. Ready to elevate your digital presence with campaigns that connect? Google 2060 Digital today.
Hey, St. Louis, my name is Rob Carter. My new primetime show will explore the collaboration between corrupt media and our corrupted political system. From manipulated elections, open borders, mandated medicines, and unconstitutional lockdowns, what is going on?
The Rob Carter Show.
Let's talk about it on The Rob Carter Show. Join me weeknights from 8 to 10 p.m. on News Talk STL.
Rob Carter, live and local, weeknights at 8 on News Talk STL.
On the next
Larry Connors, USA.
The CIA reportedly had foreign allies spying on the Trump team. Details today.
Larry Connors, USA. Now, weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
Good morning, St. Louis. It's Ben Shapiro. Join me every weeknight for The Ben Shapiro Show. But right now, back to the Mike Ferguson Show on the new conservative voice of St. Louis, 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
All right, Vic Porcelli's coming your way here in about 10 minutes on 1019 94.1 News Talk STL. And tomorrow is Flashback Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And I forgot kind of throughout the day. I think we got caught up with the emotion of the situation in Kansas City. That if you want to hear some specific 80s bump music, if you get it to me in the next 6 minutes, I can get that off the Rumble chat box. If you send it to us in the comments on Facebook or tweet it at us or email us, then we can get to that anytime. But Stell's putting together the list for tomorrow's bump music for the 80s Flashback Friday.
Got some surprises in there.
All right. That were suggested or you just came up with them? They were suggested?
Yes.
Oh, those are my favorites.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They really are.
Yeah, keep them coming, people.
Yep. All right. It's 8:53 right now. Okay. We just had a chance to talk about this for like a minute last hour, so I kind of want to bring this back up.
Okay.
Okay. You can apparently get an athletic, and I'm using the term athletic very loosely.
I mean, you kind of move when you're doing it a little bit.
You can get colleges are offering scholarships for all kinds of things. You know, I didn't play college sports. I got scouted, just never signed with anybody. So my daughter actually did play. She was on scholarship to play volleyball at a small school in Kansas when she was in college. And so you think of a college scholarship, an athletic scholarship, not to be confused with the academic scholarships or, the need-based scholarships or whatever the case is. But an athletic scholarship usually, or what used to just involve athletic things.
Like actual athletics.
Right.
Like my daughter actually went to college on a soccer scholarship.
Yeah, there you go.
So I imagine that our daughters are probably actually I think both of them are gym rats essentially. Still, right?
Yeah.
So they had to actually be in top shape to do what they were doing, right? Volleyball is not a kind of leisurely sport, and certainly neither is soccer.
Oh no, goodness no. And so 2 high school kids from Colorado. Here, their names are Jackson Remick and Gavin Hammond.
Jackson spelled with an X,
with an X, of course, yes. They received scholarships to play Division I cornhole.
Division I
cornhole.
Cornhole. Okay.
For Winthrop University in South Carolina.
Right.
Because if we're talking about cornhole, I think I should pronounce it Carolina.
Carolina.
Literally a guy. I mean, what? How do you pick up the chicks on campus? Like, I'm here on an athletic scholarship. Really? What do you play?
Cornhole.
Okay, I'm going to go talk to this guy who looks like he plays for the football team.
I mean, okay, so we're talking about a game that you play with your grandpa at the back of the house during a family picnic.
Well, and typically I've played cornhole before, but I mean,
It's a skill game.
I didn't play by all the rules because aren't you supposed to be drunk? I mean, like, aren't you supposed to have a beer in the other hand? I mean, those are the rules, right?
It's not the spinning around the bat and running the base. It's not that, but yes, I mean, I think it makes it more interesting. I think it certainly makes the game more interesting. But let's put it this way: you could probably play cornhole better drunk than you could do any other sport that actually involves physical activity.
I actually have a friend on Facebook. He's in the baseball league. And he actually put up how proud he was. I think it was a nephew. Signed a college scholarship to be on the bass fishing team. There's that. There are colleges giving now, but they're giving away scholarships for kids to play video games. I mean, Maryville University is building what they call an esports arena.
See, there are people who would pay to play a video game tournament or something like this. So why would you pay them to do so? Like, okay, I kind of understood the sports scholarship regime as an idea because of the revenue it would generate.
Yeah.
Because people coming in to see the games and all that stuff. What revenue does cornhole and esports provide to these colleges that would
charging them for room and board?
Okay, all right.
And if you're going to have cornhole, then can you have horseshoes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Why not?
Golly.
What about that? What's the one with the you've got the ladder and you're trying to throw the
Bozo the Clown game?
No. It's where you got two weights on the end of a string and you're trying to throw it to tie it up on a different level. I don't even know what that game's called.
I don't know.
But I'm just thinking of backyard games I've seen at picnics.
Someday they're going to be bragging to their grandkids, I was a college athlete. What'd you do, Grandpa? Cornhole. Okay, Grandpa, go back to bed now. You're Bidening again.
I got a letter in esports.
I'm checking on croquet. See if that's available.
Dodgeball.
Dodgeball.
My friend, death is certain. Are you prepared? Larry Connors here. I don't want to scare you, but your funeral plans are an important conversation you need to have with your spouse, family, other loved ones. My friend Benjamin Schaefer at Senior Memorial can help find you an affordable, final expense life insurance policy. Regardless of your health condition,